Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the James Brown Podcast. I'm your host Raj, and with me as always is my co-host Spencer.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. I skipped breakfast to come here.
It's
earlier.
11 o'clock. I had a meeting at work today.
I woke up at 10, and then I came here after a shower and stuff.
But it's 11 though.
I know. Well, I came here at like 10:45.
Yeah, you did. 10:45. So we're trying something new. We have a special guest coming later on.
Oh yeah.
evening.
So at the end of the podcast, or near the end of the podcast, we will be having a guest speaker who is someone who plays D&D with us, and he'll be joining us for just talking about our D&D session and adventures and stuff.
And he's also going to be helping to explain kind of D&D and actually what it's like to be a DM of D&D, which me and Raj have no idea about. So that's later on in the end of the podcast. So it's our first time we've ever had a special guest.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. We've never had a guest on the show before.
So I apologize if mic quality isn't good, but we're doing our best to get a three-person setup going. Please understand.
I hate that phrase. God damn it, Iwata. Ugh. So it's Valentine's Day tomorrow.
It is.
And for you, it means something special.
Yep.
For me, it means nothing special at all. Because
it's Singles Appreciation Day.
Well, Majora's Mask comes out tomorrow. Majora's Mask.
It spells
on
sad.
3DS. What?
Sad.
Single Appreciation Day? Oh. But I'm not sad on Valentine's Day. It's just another day. See, 2 Valentine's Days ago, I did something because I had a girlfriend at the time.
2 Valentine's Days ago.
So it was 2 years
I did
ago.
something because I had a girlfriend.
Yeah. So like we went out to dinner or something. I can't really remember all that well.
Or something.
And then that was it. And then can you stop it? And then Valentine's Day after I didn't do anything. And this Valentine's Day I probably won't be doing anything, but we'll see. There might be something I'll end up doing, but I doubt
You look
it.
really good in that sweater.
I think I do too.
Yeah.
I feel like I just feel good when I wear this.
It's a nice sweater.
Yeah.
You gonna wash it so that it doesn't smell like BO?
Eventually.
Because you're probably gonna wear it every time you have a sweaty gaming night.
That's what I said last night. If we would lose another game, I'll put on the shirt or the sweater.
Last night was rough for League. It was.
Oh, we were playing Nemesis.
Nemesis Draft is fun.
It is fun.
That video was pretty good though.
Your freaking Shen top. Yeah, that worked out well for you.
See, I get this feeling. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'm a little good at League, and then I play champions that I'm not used to, and I just crash and burn. It's horrible.
When you're not in your comfort zone, your skill level.
It's
dips.
because I tunnel vision. Like everything that when I'm playing Scion or Malfighter, anybody like that. Those are my 2 champions. I'm able to ward. I'm able to make good plays because I just feel comfortable, right? But when I'm playing someone I don't know, like Shen or Tarek's easy, but
Tarek's so easy.
When I'm playing a champion I don't know, like Soraka the other day, I just got stomped. I was horrible.
It's pretty bad. So I'm playing Grisaya again. I finished the Yumiko route, best girl.
This girl?
Yeah. And then I finished the, oh crap, what's her name? Sachi. I finished Sachi's route. And that was disappointing.
Why?
Because it was the exact same as the anime.
Oh.
Yumiko's route, took a completely different turn. And the funny thing about Yumiko's route is I like the bad ending better than the good ending.
What's the bad ending?
So I'll explain the good ending first. So, you know how Yuji, you know how she faked her death and all that? Yeah, that doesn't happen in the game. Instead, Yuji and her run away together, and the 3 months pass and they've been living together, and then they form a relationship, yada, yada, yada. And then the good ending, they confront her dad, like before, except Yuji overthrows him in the company. And so he's out of power, and then he doesn't chase Yumiko anymore. And then there's a 5-year time skip, or not a 3-year time skip, something like that. And then Yumiko has, he's given all his money to Yumiko, and Yumiko's done that to become a millionaire herself, she went into business. And then, another 5 years pass, and then Yumiko and Yuji have a kid, and then they, go to the dad, and they're, try to make him not an asshole, which actually works out. He tells you his backstory. He's like, when I was a kid, my dad would beat me, and then my mom would beat me. And if I got good grades, I'd get beaten, because I didn't get better grades. And if my grades were better, I'd have to get them even better next time, otherwise I'd get beaten again. And then my dad told me I have no use as a human. I should just be a puppet. And I'm like, man, I feel bad for this guy.
It's pretty rough.
It's pretty rough. And by comparison, he treated his daughter pretty well. Considering, Yumiko turned out right. And in a good ending, he becomes a nice guy at the end. You have a daughter with Yumiko.
What's the bad ending?
Bad ending is you don't confront him. You run away together. He eventually, after 3 years, he gives up the chase. And he just he disowns Yumiko as a daughter. So then you two are free. You get married. You have a baby boy. and then you just live happily, and Yuji lives as like a fisherman or something.
How's that a bad ending?
It's not. I actually like it better because at the ending of the bad ending, Yuji, he notices that Yumiko still thinks about her dad all the time, and he doesn't know how to help her. But then he looks at his son and he says, if nothing else, a grandparent can't help but love their grandchild. And so he pats his baby son on the head and says, you are the only hope that your mother has to reconcile with her father. That's a good ending. It leaves enough open that there could be more, but it's satisfying in itself. I like that ending. Now we go to Sachi's route. So the good ending of Sachi was the exact same as anime, with very slight differences, but it went a little bit further, like they got married, and that was the end. Didn't show them having kids or anything, which is too bad. I like that. Do you remember how her parents died? You don't, do you?
No.
Okay, so her parents died by chasing her on a playground, and they got hit by a truck
I
at the
remember
intersection.
that. I remember that.
Okay, so the bad ending, Sachi's crossing same intersection, gets hit by a truck, as Yuji's watching. And then her dying words are the exact same dying words her mother said to her, and she says them to Yuji. And then Yuji's like, everyone I love dies! And then that was the end of the ending. I laughed so hard. It was hilarious. I'm like, I don't know why, but I can accept the fact that this 17-year-old is like a master sniper and soldier, but I can't accept the fact that this girl died in the exact same spot as her parents 10 years on the day. It's just too much. It's too much to accept.
The irony hurts. Irony hurts real bad.
It was funny. And then so you can, in Grisai, you can choose who, voices the menus, right? I just change, every time I do a different route, I change who it is. So during Sachi's route, I changed it to Michiru. And like, things were getting intense and, like heavy, and she was like telling her backstory and like her parents died. So I'm like, I need to save the game. I right click save, and I hear a shrill yell, it's not like I'm gonna save the game or anything for you. And it just took me out of the experience. I laughed, and then I was like, I can't play this game anymore. I'm just out of it now. It just broke my immersion. Now I just have Michiru yelling at me whenever I try to save. So I had to change it.
Dem soons.
Oh, the soon. It's too strong. So that's my adventures in Grisaya.
That sounds awesome.
Doing Michiru's route now.
When's the next Grisaya coming out?
March.
It's like
Spring
Eden
season?
of Grisaya or something like that?
Yeah.
Labyrinth, there's another one?
That's after. There's 2 more coming out. But I don't know.
I'm pretty interested. The way it ended was interesting with the guy who's like blowing stuff up on his boat.
Well, that's supposed to be the beginning of the next arc.
Yeah.
Or book, or visual
Makes
novel.
me interested.
Or something.
Next season's gonna be good, man. Like, I know we always say that, but I mean, this next season's gonna be good.
I don't think it's gonna be good as this season. Because I think Your Lie's ending this season.
We dropped so much this season.
And Parasyte's probably gonna end this season.
No!
So,
No, please, no!
The 2 heavy hitters going away,
But Kuroko no Basuke is in to stay, probably.
I don't know how much Kuroko we're gonna get. We might only get like 12 episodes.
That sucks.
Because we have whatever game's going on now, and then we have the Kisa Kuroko game, and then we have the Kuroko Kashi game.
Yeah, but each game takes like 5 episodes.
Yeah. It's like 15 episodes. I don't know.
Okay. Want to dive into it?
Do you?
Yeah, well, we have time to talk in Crepe Corner.
It's only 8 minutes.
And when Dave comes.
You're an 8 minute. What?
You're an 8 minute? What are you
I don't know. Parasyte the Maxim, episode 17 and 18. 17 being The Adventure of the Dying Detective, and 18 being More Than Human. These are my 2 favorite Parasyte episodes to date.
Oh.
Like, 17 was my favorite, and then 18 came out, and I'm like, this is just as good.
Yeah.
The 17 was great because Tamiya Ryoko, or whatever her new name is. Tamura, whatever.
Rokiko.
Tamiya Ryoko. The way she fights is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice. It's a nice change from Shinichi, who does more brute force, and hers was like complete tactical.
Well, it's because she spends so much time researching everything that she's like, oh, we can do this? Okay, cool.
It's so cool. Like, she splits herself in half, and I love how she's just laughing with half a face, running down the street.
It's because the half of her that's left is retarded.
But it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then 2 people, this couple's brave, by the way,
Yeah.
like to confront her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, huh? But I'm empty headed. And then like, she's laughing and she's like slapping her head open and closed.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
And it endeared me to the character. Because it's not something she would do.
No. So then it came back together and she ended up destroying all 3 of the people who turned against them after finding out that they were the only ones.
And I love the fact that she said, did you think 3 would actually be enough?
Yeah.
I didn't consider Tommy as strong.
No, me neither. But now I do.
But now I do.
Well, even Miggy said that she was a threat back in what she was teaching.
Yeah, but everybody's a threat to Migi and Shinichi.
Yeah. I think what is his name? Gouto? I think that's his name. The guy who is the OP one with 4 limbs.
Yeah, super OP.
Yeah,
Underwear piano guy.
Goto guy. I think his name is Goto. Anyways. She's like, watch out for him.
Well, she doesn't say that until the next episode.
Oh, I always merge the 2 episodes when we talk. When we do a dual recap.
And I think this is the episode where 17, I mean, is the episode where she's like in his house and like clicking through the pictures of him and his family.
And then
that was really creepy.
She talks to Murano too, that episode, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. Mm-hmm. She says, Shinichi's tough, you don't have to worry about him. Which is true. He is tough. Don't have to worry about him. I don't know about that. He gets into pretty crazy stuff. You might need to worry a little bit.
Send some worry his way. He needs it.
Anyway, she wants to meet up with Shinichi and give him something. And so they head to the park. She meets a detective, whatever his name was, Kuromori.
What, she was planning on giving the kid the whole time?
Oh, I don't know. She said, I want to give you something, but I don't think it was the kid.
I think it might have been the kid.
I think she just wanted to give him the information that we can... we'll talk about it we'll talk about it in the next episode. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyway, Kuromori, I don't think he would have killed the baby when he grabbed the baby from her.
Well, he said he didn't. He said he wouldn't.
He said he's glad he didn't.
Yeah.
So he would have regretted it even though he was dying.
I'm glad he died. That mini arc was going nowhere.
I mean, I felt bad for him. He didn't really have anywhere to go after his wife and kid were killed.
I felt bad that his wife and kid died, though.
Yeah. But, like, after that, I mean, let's be honest, he has nothing left to live for. It's over. It's GG. Might as well just go out with a bang.
And that was quite the bang, or more of a thud, and then a...
He still lived, though, somehow.
Is he alive?
No, I mean, he lived through that fall.
He lived enough to tell them nothing.
Yeah.
The baby's got blood.
Who's your partner? He lost everything. Well, he can't rat out Shinichi. That's a
pretty good hint, but was it Hinami or something? The director guy? Hirami?
Himura, maybe?
Something. I don't know. He's like, okay, it's Shinichi. I'm pretty dang serious. Like, I'm pretty dang sure that that's Shinichi. Like, he's the one who was the partner. But I think everybody was shocked by what Tamara did.
So episode 18, More Than Human. I kind of saw it coming, just the way she's been treating the baby. I didn't see the death coming, but both her and Shinichi are more than human. She's ascended beyond a Super Saiyan. She's ascended beyond what a normal parasite is, and she asks the big questions: who are we? Where are we going? Why do we exist? And she drops the bomb that parasites can live without eating humans.
Yeah.
They don't have to do it.
I knew that. I called that at the beginning. Yeah. You're like, oh, I think they need to eat them like ghouls. And I was like, I think they can just live. And then we had an argument.
Oh.
You could dredge up the files, but I think I'm right.
Check the tape. Anyway, so that's a huge, huge reveal. Because now it means Shinichi can try to coexist with them, but he's not. But he can.
Well, he's so angry at all of them.
He hates them all. Because they killed his mom.
I think it's going to get to the point where the parasites are actually trying to make amends, and Shinichi's just so Vegeta'd that he just wants to kill everything.
Oh, he's their boogeyman. The only one who can stand up to his Goto, whatever his name is.
Well, that's debatable. Shinichi's going to have to go through one more transformation.
Another Spider-Man?
To fight Goto.
He's going to have to go Spider-Man 2 on us.
Or he's going to have to gain a parasite or something. That might be weird.
I don't think he would do that. I don't think he would, like, cut off another limb.
That'd be pretty interesting if he got a left and right arm. I think that'd be pretty funny.
I don't know if he'd be able to control that, though. Well, he can't control Migi anyway. Plus, if his two limbs don't get along, that'd be bad.
That's true.
Like, Goto just puts him in submission.
Why couldn't Migi?
Because Migi's not controlling the brain?
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's weird. I had the weirdest thing when he was fighting Goto, like I was saying, is like I realized that you can only transform the part of your body that you control. Which I don't know why I never realized that, but...
I thought it was obvious.
Yeah, I know. But it's cool.
So, Ryoko dies because she was protecting her baby from gunfire. Gives said baby to Shinichi and says, I want you to raise it because you're halfway between parasite and human. Which kind of makes sense, but it doesn't because the baby's completely human.
I know, and it's never known anything of parasitedom.
Yeah, so he can just raise it as a normal human and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, but then all the investigators and Shinichi and Murano have like this love session where they're all like cuddling the baby and high-fiving each other. And
That doesn't happen at all. Okay, so the big thing, or there's two big things about More Than Human. But the first one is that Shinichi finally cries. And we were right.
I was so happy.
It's because he has PTSD, which is why he couldn't cry. It was not because Migi had taken over his brain to a certain extent. But, goddamn Murano. So she says, Shinichi's back. He's not back. He's the same person. He can just cry again. So he might be a little bit softer. But the main issue you have, which is he can't tell you anything, has not changed.
I don't think that's her main issue. It's a girl thing. It's like, oh...
It's a trust thing.
Shinichi's so hard right now.
No. No, it's a trust thing.
I think Shinichi could get away with being manly.
Because
and
he
not
doesn't tell
telling.
her these things, she thinks he doesn't trust her. That's a big issue.
He trusts Akano.
Kana.
Who's Kano? Saekano. Got it. Kano. Well, anyways, the ending was interesting.
So, it's another guy who can sense parasites, like Kana could. But I was wondering when he would come back. Do you remember this character?
He's Favaro's voice.
Do you remember this character?
No.
He was in the very, very first episode, in the very last scene. So in the first episode, when Shinichi's like, I wonder where Migi came from, and then it cut to like the green balls floating down, and then Migi came out of it, it cut to this guy stabbing another person. And it was this guy. He was killing a parasite.
Oh.
So he's a serial killer, but he only kills parasites, I think.
Oh, and the government wouldn't have known that he was only killing parasites.
Yeah.
So he's actually not a serial killer.
But he is. But not, not
But he
humans.
was actually doing what Shinichi's doing.
Pretty much.
Shinichi's technically a serial killer, too.
Yeah.
Okay. In that regard. Yeah, but he got a little happy there.
Oh my god, you put a woman this fine in front of me? How could you? And then he starts fapping away.
Oh, man. So, yuck. So anyways, that was interesting. The end where he's just like...
Shinichi freaked out.
Well, that's because they told him probably that he's a parasite. Like, they probably told Shinichi that he's a parasite. So he freaked out because
I don't think so.
The other guy needed to make eye contact with Shinichi.
I don't think they told him that.
Yeah, they're lying to both of them.
They're not lying to what's his face. He just says, "Look at him. Tell me if he has the same power as you."
Okay, fine, but they're lying to the participants, like Shinichi. They probably told Shinichi something that freaked him out and made him look at the guys in the eyes.
I think Shinichi just senses that this guy can sense.
Mm-mm. I think they just lied to him
We'll see.
to get him to look up.
You're long a rot. You're
long a rot.
You're wrong a lot.
You're long a rot, man. You're long a rot. That sounds British. Title of the episode?
Right then,
You're long a rot, eh?
off to Kuroko.
Oh, I love this. Episode 4 and 5. Don't stop. You're giving up.
I'll take this for you now. No, it's supposed to be, I'll take this from you now.
Well, you
You left the M.
You sucked at autocorrect. It was Parasyte the Maxim, episode 17-18, and then you sent me More the Human.
Oh.
I changed it to More Than Human.
My apologies.
It's okay. I forgive you.
So episode 4, I'll take this from you now. And episode 5, I know none of that.
Really nothing happened in these episodes.
Well, that's not true. So episode 4, I lost the accent.
I'm gonna lose it too.
Episode 4, nothing happened. Basically Kagami got shoes,
He got shoes.
and Kuroko got shoes.
They got
The
shoes.
only important thing is he got Aomina's shoes.
And they introduced the Rakuzan backflippers and the Almighty Gorillas. And
They introduced the Uncrowned Kings who were part of Akashi's little crew. And then that was, they played a little bit and the guy dribbled with 3 fingers and it was loud. And that was the end of the episode. So,
it just makes me laugh. Kuroko's stupid powers.
It is. 5, I know none of that. Okay, so loud dribble guy actually just dribbles the ball so hard that you can't see it with 3 fingers. That's his power.
He can go 2 notches higher. What scale do you have that the pinky and the thumb will add that much more power? I got 2 more steps to go? Wow, buddy, you're bright. You thought of that real quick. You deserve a gold star on your jersey.
The main thing is finally we get revealed to what Akashi's power is, and it's the Eye of the Emperor. And he makes those subservient to him.
Wasn't his parents doctors?
I don't know.
Because I think I remember something about his parents being
I don't think he's ever mentioned that.
or doctor. I thought that was mentioned.
No.
Anyways, regardless of all that, I think he has the ability to very quickly see muscle contractions and stuff. That's why he can do it. Because they always explain all the powers scientifically. They never let him have a superpower.
I don't know. Kuroko's pretty super.
He's just so unaware. Like, no one knows who he is.
What? No, how was he unaware?
His presence is low.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but being able to see the future doesn't make even more sense. I think he can just see muscle contractions.
Right, but neither does being able to jump super high.
Yeah, you just have strong muscles.
But not that kind of height. Not be able to shoot a ball from any distance. That's ridiculous.
He has great muscles and great concentration
No, that's
skills.
dumb. Shut up. So his power is pretty cool. He can see the future. And I like the way he does it is that he'll trip people up so they bow to him like an emperor. And the line he says, your head is too high. It's so epic. Yeah. It's so cool.
He's so boss because he just walks to the net.
He's so cool. Yeah.
It is overwhelming.
And I like
watching
how
him play. It's crazy. I'm like, oh man.
I like how he actually does respect Midorima. And he tells his team, I'm the only one who can take him. Leave him to me. I'm the only one who's power. And he's like, I love how he says, who do you think dominated the generation of miracles?
Yeah.
Why do you think I was your
Who
leader?
made them subservient?
Yeah.
Like me. And I'm like, ooh. But then at the end, oh my freaking goodness, Kuroko, like, can you stop? They're just like, oh. They stand up. And they're like, well, good thing it's time for our trump card. And it's like, oh my.
That's typical Kuroko.
Why don't you use that?
You gotta save it for
We got
last.
5 minutes, you know?
You gotta save it for last, man.
It's exactly like Kisei, though. It's the identical situation as Kisei.
It's the identical
But
situation to every game.
Midorima has to lose.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
he's going to lose.
Yeah.
Someone has to be a scapegoat to Akashi.
It's obviously Midorima because no one really cares about the character.
It's true.
Like, Kisei's fighting Kuroko's team.
It's like Midorima and Murasaki Bara are the two that nobody cares about.
Yeah, and then Akashi's gonna face...
No, he's out to the finals after this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Kuroko's gonna beat Kisei, and they're gonna meet up against the finals because they're not gonna lose now.
And then Kuroko's team has to win because they lost last time. And now they have to win.
That's the law of sports
they have to
anime.
win. So why are we watching anymore?
Because it's still good.
Yeah, it is good.
It's Dragon Ball Z and sports.
Can't wait for that guy to use his pinky. Ooh. Ooh.
Can't wait for Kuroko to... I don't even know anymore.
So that was Kuroko.
Probably use like the vanishing hug or something.
How many of you guys even watch Kuroko? Is it just us? Do you wait for this section to end?
I mean, it's a pretty big, popular anime.
I
Mostly with women, though.
Sugoi!
And there's a significant amount of Kuroko cosplay whenever I go to a con. Which, I mean, it's understandable because it's pretty easy cosplay. You put on a wig, you put on an outfit, and you're done. Actually, that can go
Sorry,
to any cosplay.
that sounds pretty, it sounds like exactly.
Okay, you put on some gym clothes, and you put on a wig, and you have a basketball, and you're done.
So, like, dressing as like Link would be like putting on a wig and putting on an outfit. Nice. But I guess you don't have to make a sword and a shield, and I understand. I understand what you're saying.
7 Deadly Sins, episodes 15 and 16. Unholy Night and the Cornered Legends. So Unholy Night is where they find out that the monster's Dale...
We talked about that last week.
Did we, though?
Yes, because I think we did, because I looked at the my notes from last week for the last time we did the podcast, and I had Unholy Night on already.
Okay.
So does this mean only one was released?
I guess.
Yes, it releases on Sundays, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we only missed one.
All right.
Because the next one's coming out in 2 days.
Okay, Cornered Legends, then. The one that's more important. Elizabeth was captured. They bum rushed to the castle, and... Well, okay, first of all, King Arthur.
Yeah.
He's a Bishonen.
But he's awesome.
He's a Bishonen.
What I love,
of all things.
What I love about this series is they're just throwing these characters in, and they're not doing ridiculously stupid backstories. All of these characters, their names, for the most part, are like referencing medieval Europe. Which
Meliodas, Ban,
a lot of
King.
them, probably a lot of them are. I'm just saying. But to bring in, like, say, oh, hey, look, it's King Arthur from Camelot. The Japanese are probably like, eh? But like, for most Europeans in North America, like, we know the story of King Arthur, how he pulled the sword from the stone, Merlin, and all that. Like, we know all that stuff.
Oh yeah, so that's probably Merlin with him then.
Yeah, Merlin or whatever. But wasn't Merlin one of the 7 deadly sins? Didn't they drop that name?
I don't know.
Oh, I think they dropped that name.
I can't remember.
Whatever.
So, Gila, okay, basically they're figuring out that the people are corrupt. Gila, I like how Gila turns because she wants to save her brother and she needs to repay that debt. That's cool. I like how Hauser turns for love.
He likes Diane.
He's just like, run away, what are you doing here? I don't want to kill you. Yeah. And then he's like, I need to protect this woman.
But finally, like, I'm glad they didn't drag this out, but it's so clear that Hendrickson and whoever the other guy is, the father of, Griamore.
Yeah.
So the father, Griamore, and Hendrickson are, it's kind of a weird system. Hendrickson is evil. He's trying to bring about the demons so that they can battle the demons. He doesn't even care about the 7 deadly sins anymore. He's making them a scapegoat so they can have their war. Right? He's manipulating Griamore's dad because Griamore's dad apparently was the one who killed the guy that we saw in the earlier flashback.
Yeah, he's the one who framed Meliodas for the death.
So, does that mean Griamore's dad was the one who killed Gilthunder's dad?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So now we're finding all this out, and Gila is like, well, that's not cool, because Diane just saved her brother. Turns, and that kind of where that ended, but there's a lot more to the episode, but that was cool.
But, okay, so Griamore's dad, whatever his name is, he had a problem. He doesn't want the demons, right? And he's like, I'm going to fight you and stop you, Hendrickson. And then the 7 deadly sins come, he's like, alright, see ya.
Oh, because Griamore blackmailed him, or Hendrickson blackmailed him.
Okay, but the threat is losing your status because of your betrayal really that important when you compare it to the end of the freaking world?
Grimoire would die. Or Grimoire's dad would die.
And he thinks his son's dead. But he's not.
No, Grimoire's dad would die.
I know.
Gil Thunder would immediately murder him if he found out.
He could destroy Gil Thunder. He's a great holy knight.
Maybe, but if you gang attacked him, it would be...
Okay. Gang attack him. If you gang up on him is what you're trying to say. I don't think so. He can take on the 7 deadly sins.
Okay, so Hendrickson, in the middle of all this, is currently fighting King Arthur?
For no reason.
Well, because he just wants to kill him. Hendrickson doesn't like any outside influences because he knows he's corrupt. So he's like, just kill people and it's
He's not going to be able to beat King Arthur.
If
especially for the fact that Meliodas is on his way. And Meliodas can definitely hold his own against
If
Hendrickson.
he kills King Arthur, then he can pretty much own Camelot.
Yeah, but he won't.
I think it's thinking of his opportunity. Merlin's currently taking on his posse.
And Merlin, given what we know about Merlin, she's going to destroy him. I'm 90% sure Merlin's a
I
ghost.
laughed so hard. There's really bad animation art style thing that happened in this episode. Diane got speared to the chest. Right?
Yep.
Big hole.
Mm-hmm.
Next scene, no hole.
Oh.
Next scene, big hole again. And I was like, oh no, like.
I don't even notice stuff like that.
Well, I don't know, but she's got all these holes now in her. Then she gets knocked out into the sky. Everyone's hating on her. Poor Diane. I feel
Giants
so
are
bad.
pretty tough though.
I feel so bad for Diane though.
The way she, just finally fell and collapsed, it was so sad.
Yeah.
She just said, I'm sorry I couldn't do anything for you. But I think she was talking about Elizabeth, not about the little kid she saved.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about the kid at all.
Yeah.
She had a flashback.
That was sad.
So that means that.
But I like how she had a flashback to her trauma and everybody hating giants, and she's like, "Why am I even here?
Yeah.
Humans suck." And then she's like, "No, Elizabeth's my friend.
Yeah.
I have to save my friend."
So Gowther is heading to support Diane. Bon
Gowther?
King. Gowther.
Who's Gowther?
Gowther is the name of the goat sin.
Oh yeah.
So Gowther's heading.
This is how much I don't care about him. I forgot who he
Gowther's
is.
going to help Diane, and Bon King and Meliodas are running straight towards Hendrickson. He says if you beat Hendrickson...
Well, King's not even there.
Where's King? Oh, King's with...
King is with
King
Mama.
pushed Diane through his dog.
Yeah.
And
Push my butt, King. I can't handle it.
my heart can't take it. So because he hesitated, he actually got her hurt so bad, I think.
Yeah.
But then his dog got zapped, so he's now stuck with Giant Pig. And Hawk is hardcore.
Oh yeah, it's pretty hardcore.
Hawk pooed so aggressively that his butt was bleeding. Oh man.
Oh yeah, I forgot Elizabeth escaped.
Yeah, this kind of humor is good, man. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
So and then he's just like Hawk. I always thought he was just so prideful and just so arrogant, cocky. But he can follow up.
He can back it up, yeah.
Ham smash and just destroys him. And then they're running away, and then the teleport girl thinks she's still in the dungeon. It's probably
and it finally got revealed who knocked out Meliodas. It's one of the 7 deadly sins.
Merlin. I thought that's what they said her name was.
Maybe her name's Marilyn.
Merlin Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.
I don't know. But I really like 7 Deadly Sins. It's good. I like the characters and I like how adventure-y it feels. It's good.
Gowther's power is pretty cool.
Oh, the illusionist thing?
No, you're gonna think that, he makes people think you're his friends.
Yeah, he's like, you're now part of a
Meliodas, can I have your autograph? Oh, it's a long time to see. Feels so good to see you again.
I love how he's like, yeah, I do this, and then it replaces memories, but once they feel contradiction, it goes back to normal, but they forget everything. And they're like, never use that on us, ever. That's a cheap skill.
I don't know why they wouldn't want to use on them. It doesn't seem that bad.
Because you can manipulate them to do whatever you wanted, and then they forgot about it. It's perfect. You'd be like, what? I didn't do anything.
Alright, so moving on to Tokyo Ghoul Route A, episode 5 and 6. Rift and 1,000 Paths. So Rift is where finally Kaneki has revealed his centipede powers. And not so much revealed as they kind of exploded from him.
Where does that come from?
It came from him eating too many other ghouls.
You become an insect?
No, you become a Kakuja.
What's a Kakuja?
A Kakuja is it's like a Super Saiyan ghoul. It's a ghoul that's ascended beyond a normal ghoul. It's stronger. You become stronger by eating. What's his face? Yamamori said is true. You become stronger by eating other ghouls.
So I'm assuming that the one-eyed owl is a giant Kakuja.
You are correct.
Oh.
The one-eyed owl is a complete Kakuja.
He's ridiculous.
And so is Yamamori. He was a complete Kakuja.
Who is that? You keep saying that. I'm sorry. Who is he?
Not Jason, the mask guy.
Oh, okay. He was?
Yeah, he was a Kakuja.
How did he get owned so badly?
Because Kaneki's cool and boss. And the story called for it.
And he ate him?
Well, Kaneki ate most of it.
That's gross. But I guess we're watching Ghoul, so... Okay, so the censorship is real in these... Okay, all of a sudden, starting last episode, Rift, censorship. What happened?
I don't know. It comes and goes. It's weird.
It doesn't come and go.
What do you mean?
The first time it ever came was in Rift, when for some reason the black girl was completely blurred, like pornography blurred, right? Like,
yeah, and the fight between Kuro and Shiro and Suzuya, that was censored for some reason.
no, black girl was censored, right? Then she just killed white girl and no censorship, and then back to black girl and she's blurred again, and then half the screen's black, and I was about to turn the episode off because I hate that so much. And then the action, like, it was like.
The action was great.
It was great, but then the censorship was everywhere, and I was like, what happened? Remember at the beginning of Tokyo, I was like, oh man, I'm so happy that, they finally released it with no censorship and all this stuff. And now it's back.
I don't know. It just is.
So frustrating.
Sometimes, like I said, it comes and goes. It came back. Maybe, hopefully it'll go away.
Then in the, 1,000 Paths episode, we had more censorship again.
Did we?
Yeah. When, Juzo, or what, no, not Juzo, Crazy Kid.
Yeah, Suzuya.
Juzo's
his other name.
When Suzuya was going ham on...
Okay, but that was different. I don't want to see a guy's donger being ripped apart.
He was doing that?
Yeah.
Who?
When he was being tortured in his flashback? Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, is that what he was doing?
Yeah, she was twisting apart his donger.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, you really want to see that?
No, I don't.
I'm okay with that being censored.
Yeah. That's gross. Didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought it was like attacking his feet and stuff.
No.
How do you know that?
Because I read the manga.
Oh my gosh, okay. Okay, that's rough life for that kid.
Oh, it's pretty bad.
Okay, so let's just go back to the Rift ends.
Okay, so Kaneki
Yeah.
kicks the crap out of what's-his-face. The guy who has a...
That's not true.
Ayato's... Yeah, the guy who has Ayato's dad as an Arata.
Kaneki beats that
Kaneki
guy.
destroys him.
Oh, it's
and then he
Cul-de-sac-kun, it's Shinohara.
Cul-de-sac. That's a good one. Okay.
It's because his hair.
Yeah, it is. It looks like cul-de-sac. Yeah. So he beats Shinohara. He eats Ayato's dad.
Yeah, he
which
does.
I hope Ayato doesn't know about that because that'd be rough.
Yeah.
Also Toka. Hey Toka, I ate your dad. Sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
But then Kaneki, like I said before, it messes with his mind.
And he's talking to Amon about how he wants to stop eating.
And he's like, I just don't.
Is that lies?
No, it's true. I don't want to eat anymore. It's killing him. Or Kaneki is eating ghouls because if you eat ghouls, you don't have to eat humans.
Yeah.
But eating ghouls is messing with him regardless.
Yeah.
He's living, but he's suffering. And so Amon believes him. Amon knows that Kaneki's a different kind of ghoul. He's not the same. And now that he knows that Kaneki actually didn't try to eat Shinohara, he knows that he's still the same ghoul. Like, he thought he was tricked and stuff, and Kaneki just wants to kill him. But now he doesn't. He knows. And then the owl shows up. And oh my god, this owl's enormous.
He's so big.
Holy
Who was the other guy
the one-eyed owl shows up.
Who was the other one? The other owl.
I can't tell you.
Oh, because
Spoiler.
it wasn't him.
No, they're two different owls.
Oh man, this guy is huge.
So, when they were talking in the elevator, hey, did you think that the owl was smaller? Obviously. Obviously it was smaller.
Yeah.
Look at him.
This guy was ginormous. He picks up, what's his name?
Kaneki and Ayato?
Yeah, Ayato. He picks up Ayato Kaneka and goes, boom, just jumps.
Yep. Just
like
leaves.
a beast. And he just flies out of there. And then I totally thought that, Shinohara was dead. I thought Kaneki was just eating him. Right?
That's what they want you to think.
I know. I knew they wanted me to. And Amon's like, no! Blah, blah, blah. And then...
I love the look Akira had when she saw the owl. The desire for revenge surfacing on her face.
So that was Rift. Now, 1,000 Paths was more of a meandering story about Amon, what's his name? Juzo?
Suzuya or Juzo.
I call him Juzo. So, Juzo, Amon, and Akira. And it's mostly about their lives.
Okay, so Amon...
Oh my goodness.
Props to this man. To fight off his sexual desires, he does push-ups throughout the entire night.
7,000 push-ups.
So men, if you ever want to fight off the desire to have sex with a woman, just do push-ups.
And have a cold shower.
Does that work?
Mm-hmm. Shrink.
The only time I've had a cold shower is when it's like really hot in the summertime.
Shrink.
But who does that to like get whatever?
I don't know.
I don't know anyone who's ever actually done that to dissuade themselves.
It's an anime, whatever. Okay, so pretty much...
But he doesn't have a cold shower.
In this episode, Amon's storyline is like, he's wandering around thinking about Kaneki. He runs into Kaneki's best friend, Hide. And Hide's like, oh, I'm just so interested in the eye patch. Okay, bye. And then he leaves. Hide's such a... Whatever. He's such a liar. Obviously, he's He knows everything. I know he knows everything. Anyways, so Amon just kind of wanders. Then Akira comes in. And he's like, "Oh, hey, Akira, want to come for dinner?" And Akira's like, "Oh, okay." And then the buddy that I don't know what his name is, nobody cares about him. It's like, "Let's go to dinner, everybody." So he's drunk, and he's like, "Akira, you always just say everything that I say is wrong. I hate you." And then Akira gets drunk and is like, "I hate you."
She's a big forehead.
And she does. And then this guy says, "Hey, like, what do you want?" And it's his boss, and he has to go back to work. And I'm like, lol.
You got wrecked.
So then Akira passes out, and Amon goes, "Oh," and has to carry her back to her apartment, which I'm pretty surprised he knows where that is. Has the key. Pretty wondered how he got that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. Like, how'd you know, one, where she lived, and two, how'd you know how to get it?
So he puts her down in the bed, and then in the manga...
Oh, in the manga, she strips her pants off, and like she basically just wants to have sex with him. And then Amon's like, "Peace," and then he just does push-ups. So in this one, I like the reasoning. I like the way they... Okay, I don't think they should have changed it, but the change they made I can accept. Where she stops him and she says, "Don't leave, Dad." And like when he's like, "She wants me sexually," and then he's like, "No, she wants her dad," and then he's mad at himself for thinking the other thing. And he does push-ups as a punishment.
Because they just had the conversation where he killed her dad.
Which is bullshit, but whatever.
Because he didn't. He was stopped by Kaneki.
Yeah.
It's not his fault.
I mean, he could have said, he's like, "I was busy fighting Eye Patch." That's all he had to say. But no, he's
Whatever.
like, "I killed your dad."
But he took responsibility, and then he got
Shouldn't
favor
have.
with her. Whatever.
It's her dad's fault for trying to 2v1.
Okay. Then
You don't 2v1.
we're going back to Juzo, who has just got a messed up life. He was raised by ghouls,
Yeah.
tortured,
Yep.
with no regenerative ability,
Yep.
and he was made to
Kill other humans.
perform in the arena that Kaneki had to go to that one time.
Yep. And he would just kill other humans there.
And he did well at it, but then he got adopted by Cul-de-sac-kun as a
Shinohara.
partner, and that's that. And he has good physical ability and all that stuff. And it ended.
This just proves, though, how badly they need people to fight ghouls, that they'd use someone like Suzuya. Because they say it themselves, his physical abilities are great, but he has absolutely no sense of morality.
Mm-hmm.
He has no sense of, like, human compassion. So he shouldn't, like, you just shouldn't use someone like that. Just put him in a facility or something.
Well, I think the CCG is probably the best place for him.
I disagree.
We can keep an eye on
A
him.
mental asylum.
He'd like kill everybody.
I wouldn't. Put him in a straitjacket. What's he gonna do?
Break the straitjacket.
No.
Okay.
They're made to not be... What? Why would you have a straitjacket if someone could easily break it?
Yeah, but he's like superhuman.
He's not.
I think he is.
He's not. He doesn't have superhuman strength. I mean, sure, if you give him like a Kagune, then yeah, he'll be able to do it, but no. Also, the reasons Kaneki's Kakuja is a centipede is because he's traumatized by the goddamn centipede that ate himself, or ate him inside out.
Ew, gross.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Kaneki can't control it anymore, so he's like falling apart.
Oh yeah, his back is like exploding with his...
He can't control his Kagune, which is messed up. So the question is, if he ate more ghouls, and he became a complete Kakuja, would it make everything better?
I'm gonna sneeze. This isn't gonna be good. I can control it. Okay, I'm good.
But he doesn't know he's a half Kakuja anyway. So to him, he has no idea. So his two options are continue suffering like this, and maybe it'll get better by itself, or keep eating and maybe it'll get worse, or maybe it'll get better, you don't know.
How deviant is this from the manga at this point?
I mean, it's pretty similar. He did suffer. Not this much, but he did suffer. In the manga, he ended up controlling it. He stopped eating, as far as I remember.
Let's hope it changes, or else you just spoiled it for everybody.
Hey, it's deviates from the manga.
That's true. Okay, Aldnoah Zero.
Okay, episode 16, Soldier's Pay, and then episode 17, The Turning Wheel. What happened to Soldier's Pay? I remember Turning Wheel. I remember Soldier's Pay. Okay, so... we finally see Marito again, and we see Yukine, and they have their own unit. Marito's finally gotten over his PTSD and his alcoholism. He's basically a normal person now, more or less. And they're like in the desert, and then they're like doing stuff in the desert, and then suddenly a Martian comes out of nowhere, because blonde guy who doesn't like Slane and brunette guy who doesn't like Slane want to show up Slane somehow, and they're like, "You should go and fight the Earthlings," and he's like, "Sure, why not?" And he has a sweet ass, I forgot what they're called, cataphract that controls gravity. Pretty cool. And so my thought, the whole time watching this, I'm like, there's no way they're going to beat him. Because in season 2, the only one who could beat anything is Inoho.
Yeah.
So somehow they have to get Inoho down here. So he's either gonna like come in a capsule, or he's gonna do something from space, but it has to be from Inoho.
Yep.
So they're like walking, and then like the thing gets blasted. I'm like, oh, he's gonna shoot from space. Of course he is. Of course. Why didn't I think of that? It's Inoho. And then like it cuts to Inoho. I'm like, yeah, nobody can do anything but this guy.
Yeah.
Everyone is useless except for him.
He's standing upside down on a spaceship, shooting at the planet with pinpoint accuracy. It's just not even fair. And he shoots twice.
He's such a god.
He shoots twice, wrecks this guy, doesn't kill him. Then they take the guy prisoner, okay? And during this whole period, Slane's like, yo, I'm a boss too. And then goes and like destroys Moonbase.
Yep.
Because he's like, oh, I know what's happening.
And then Inoho's like, I'm just gonna watch the recording on my robot eye. Pause. Enhance. It's him. I was like, God damn it, Inoho.
Slane Troyard.
And then he's like,
Pause, zoom, enhance.
I like how Inoho does pause for a second. Not the video, but himself. And he's like, if he can see the future, it's gonna be troublesome. That's all he says. He doesn't say, that's impossible. He doesn't say, I'm gonna have a hard time. He just, that's troublesome. Which is Inoho talk for, give me a couple days and I'll beat him.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that all happens. Slane comes back and everyone's like, yay, Slane!
You're so good!
Oh, I love you, Slane! And then the blonde guy and the brunette guy are like,
We can't say anything.
And so then Slane and Harknight, or whatever his name is, Heartlight.
His butt buddy.
Harklight. I almost got it. Harklight, they're like, oh, good for us. We're really low on the list. We're gonna change the world. Rah, rah, rah.
Fight the power.
Fight the power. Pretty much that was it. So the turning wheel, they have, the bro.
Inoho, spends his time interrogating what's-his-face.
Yeah, what's his face?
And who's extremely flamboyant, by the way.
He is flamboyant.
Yeah. But Inoho's ingenious. He says, you're different from everybody else. I can tell that you're not interested in just the resources. You're interested in Earth itself and Earth culture and stuff like that. And that's why you're not dead right now. You can actually listen to reason. And he turns this guy to his side. He convinces him that Asalem's still alive. And this guy is the only one who could find out on his own.
And I like how they did it where he did drop a lot of hints that make it clear that he knew about Earth. Because he said two things. He's like, well, the pigs, right? The pig thing. And
yeah.
he also said, well, I guess our system of government would look very ancient to you Earthlings too. And the only way
he's researched
our medieval Europe past and all that stuff. And he knows that we're now in like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like he did do a research and it did make sense.
Which is cool. And I like that they finally like, Riot hasn't had much, she's had screen time, but she hasn't had too much development in season 1. So I like the fact that they finally bring her back in. Inoho. It's kind of like a harem anime where Inoho's like spending time with each of the girls and he's like, it's time for your development. Yeah. And so he quote unquote fixes her problems. He doesn't really, but he tells her, you're different from all the Martians. You're not a horrible person. You don't deserve to die. Yada, yada, yada. And he does it all by saying one phrase over and over again. And she finally she's like, or when he takes her with her to free with whatever guy, flamboyant guy, she asks why he picked her and he's like, cause I trust you. And she's like, I could have killed him like I killed Asylum. He's like, you didn't kill Asylum. You held back.
And then, his friend, the dark-haired girl.
Inko,
there she is. You know who love her, I wrote her down. Inko is hiding behind a rock reporting that nothing's wrong. And
she doesn't want to betray
she's like, but I want to be with you.
No, she was saying, what are you doing? What the hell's wrong with you? You're freeing a Martian.
Yeah,
but all Inoho has to say is, I turned him.
Or all Inoho has to say is, I'm Inoho. And then be like, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I doubted you. I'm stupid.
Like, okay, objectively. Alright, let's look at this objectively. The entirety of Earth is just Inoho's support.
Exactly.
It's just, Inoho, what do you need? Save us, please.
And the only reason the Earth still exists at this point is due to Inoho.
Yeah.
So if he does something, let him do it. I mean, why do you even have to doubt this guy?
This guy should have like servants and crap.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the god of the Earth right now.
He's got a harem though.
My god.
So there's that.
It's true.
And then it ended. So, okay, what happened was fake princess girl. Okay. Her name, I have her name written down somewhere. Oh, Lemrina is like, I'm a trap bird. And so she contacts Curly Blonde and Curly Brunette and says, hey, because they wanted to meet. And she's like, oh yeah, you could totally come see me because I'm not Slane's dog. So they come in and Slane's like, why did you let them come?
I mean, she has a point. Even though Slane's treating her well, she still feels like a prisoner under his rule. Because he doesn't let her do whatever she wants.
Well, because she's dumb.
She's dumb. But, so it makes sense. And then, apparently she can stand up. I thought she was bound to a wheelchair.
It's gravity chamber. That's why. Like, they're in a low gravity chamber.
Ah.
So they had to go there in order for her to stand up.
Makes sense.
But they could totally pawn the wheelchair off on an injury that might have happened. Because everyone knows that Zasbomb saved her, right?
Yeah, they could have just done that. Whatever.
Anyways, so she's like, oh crap, this probably wasn't a good idea. Slane's like, Hercule's like, I love Slane. And then these two blonde and brunette guys are like, I can't believe you did this. You don't have really the right to do this. And then blonde guy's like, I challenge you to a duel, slaps him in the face with a glove, that sort of thing. And
I was laughing to myself, and I know for a fact, because I asked all my other friends, they're like, oh yeah, I was laughing too. Because here's the thing, I may not like Slane, but I know for the fact that he's the second strongest character in the show.
Yep.
So if you challenge this guy to a duel, you better prepare yourself, because you're about to be slain.
that was really bad, but really good.
Thanks, man.
But I mean, okay, look, like, Slane's probably like fist pumping because he now has an opportunity to kill this guy.
Yep.
And it totally works out in his favor.
This Slane is Hitler. He's like Hitler. He's just amassing as much power as possible, and killing this guy is going to help him amass even more power.
Yep.
You're just playing into his hands.
Because it looks like the brunette guy could be subjugated pretty dang easily.
Or you could just murder him and take his castle for himself.
Why not? Because he did drop the bomb that those who do not have a landing castle shouldn't be a boss, right? He's like, well, I'll just take yours.
He'll just take his.
Yeah.
I'll kill you, activate your Aldnoah myself, and then it's mine.
He has that ability.
Yeah.
Well then, Aldnoah Zero's about to get...
But that's the thing. See, I like this. Inoho, nice try, bud. Inoho has the activation power due to...
Resuscitating?
No, what's her name? Salem. He has the power due to Salem, where Slane has it due to Lemrina. So it's basically the two head knights of the two princesses fighting. But Slane doesn't want her power. He wants the other one's power.
Slane is torn because he has the wrong princess's power.
Do you think that if the princess ever woke up, he'd just keep her in the tube?
I think if the princess woke up, Slane's screwed. Because she would completely realize that she wants to go back to Inoho.
Oh, yeah.
That love.
Oh, she'd realize, hey, life sucks with Slane. I want to go home to Inoho. He treated me right. Treated me well. Log Horizon, episode 17 and 18. Oh, boy. Odyssey Nights and When the Concert Ends. So Odyssey Nights, we'll talk about the only good part of the anime, or the episode.
The end.
Which is when the knights were introduced, and the cathedral. The portable cathedral. And the reason they look so hollow is because they've died over and over and over and over, and respawned over and over and over, and they've lost so many memories that they're losing themselves.
Yes.
Obviously.
So at first I was thinking maybe the cathedral is twisting their spirits or whatever, but like you said, it's the fact that it's like having a bunch of Phoenix Downs in your party, right? Instead of having to go back to the priest in town, you can just Phoenix Down the crap out of your Final Fantasy party and revive them all the time, right?
Yep. So you play more recklessly.
Yeah, you play way more recklessly. You have the ability to know that if you die, you can come back. So you're not really playing defensively. You're not really worrying too much about your teammates, all that stuff. So they've died so many times that they probably don't even know who they are or where they are anymore. Or even remember Earth, for that matter.
Yeah. So, actually there was something else that was revealed in like a throwaway line, which is a pretty big reveal. But I'll talk about that soon enough. The other thing, so Rose 2, who is Lady Shiroe, is part of their party. I just said party really weirdly. Party. She's part of the party. And, what's her face? Nuraha has also joined the party, the kid party, because who cares? And the only reason she's with him is because she knows they're tied to Shiroe, and she's like, maybe they'll take me to Shiroe, and I can be with him again, yay. But she's doing absolutely dick all. Toya's in love with her for some dumb reason. And so the main thing is that Rose 2 said in a very throwaway line that this power is only helpful on the moon. And I don't remember who it was. I think it was Shiroe.
But no, the vampire said that a power is only
that's what I said. Rose 2.
That's her name?
Yeah. Who do you think I was talking about?
I don't know.
Oh my god, this guy.
I thought you were talking about the blonde girl who joined the party.
That's Nuraha.
Oh, I thought she had a different name. She gave a different name, though.
Yeah, I don't know her fake name.
Oh, I thought it was Rose 2.
Let's call her Nuraha.
I thought her name was Rose 2.
No.
Whatever.
What do you think the vampire's name was?
I haven't watched Log in a long time.
You really haven't watched it in like a week. That's not a long time.
Yeah.
God. Alright. So, she mentions that the power is only useful on the moon.
So when you die?
And Shiroe said that there is a civilization on the moon. I think it was Shiroe. It was either Shiroe or somebody else. Which means she's just confirmed the fact that there is a place on the moon for people to go to. The moon is another land with a civilization on it. There's a town. There's a city.
Spaceships.
Exactly.
What if Mars and Mercury? Oh my gosh, this series.
You see?
I love it.
There's the potential to skip the rest of Earth and just go to space.
Yeah, but you were
Which would be way more interesting.
well, I can't believe this is happening. I remember back at Log Horizon 1, I was like, what if there's like America and China? You're like, no, they're not going to do that. Look at that. They have China servers and American servers. They have everything. And the moon is a server. Why the crap couldn't Mercury and Mars be a server? Or like Pluto. Oh wait, Pluto's not a planet.
This is my favorite planet as a
That was
kid.
mine.
So you go to the moon when you die, which is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So assuming if you get to the moon without dying, you can meet the people who die.
In that moment that they're alive.
But what I'm thinking is, the moon is where they hold the system to bring people back to life. So if you go there, you can take control of that system, possibly.
Well, sure I could. It's not even a possibility. You just write a contract. Do whatever the crap he wants. He walked into the gold place and ripped up a contract. Guy's like, what'd you do? He's like, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? He hasn't even fully explained what he did. Like, sure, he just ripped the contract up, man.
Yeah.
So, too OP for me.
So, Odyssey Nights, those were only 2 things that are worth talking about. Everything else was garbage. I think my Shut Up Rudy counter went to 3.
I didn't watch when the concert ends.
When the Counter Ends was one of the worst episodes of Log Horizon I've ever watched in my life. Oh my god. Okay, so the problem is, this is why I hate it, is because I don't like Isuzu. And this episode's all about Isuzu and her problems. Okay, so what happened in Isuzu's past and why she doesn't want to be a pro is because her dad tried to go pro. And he sold his first album, and then that was it. He sold his first album and he didn't get popular enough, so he couldn't be pro anymore. So his career crashed and burned. And then he became a teacher. He became a studio magician. That's what they said. And then they finally revealed, remember why in the Valentine's Day episode, Rudy was like walking around in the shadows?
Yeah.
Yeah, they revealed why he did that. Want to know why?
Why?
He was just helping people. He was helping people with their days.
Really?
Yeah, that's it.
But it wasn't...
He says to Isuzu, sometimes I just go outside and help people of the land because they don't know how to get around in Akiba. So he's just showing people around. Remember how he's like covered in shadow and all dark and secretive? He was just helping people there.
Such a good guy.
Oh my god, this anime's dumb sometimes. These characters suck.
Such a good guy.
And then Isuzu is like all crying because like I want to be a pro, but I can't be a pro, blah, 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 blah. Rudy says something interesting. The word for music in this universe is 42 or something like that. And that's because the game itself only has 42 songs. And he says since the beginning of time, we've only had 42 different kinds of music in this world. So every time she sings something, it's something brand new that they've never heard before. So that's why everybody loves her. But what's funny is, he's like that's why people always cry and dance whenever you sing. And they flash back to the concert, everybody's just sitting down and drinking. Nobody's crying. Barely anyone's smiling. Like, this Rudy's full of crap. Oh, so dumb.
I'm so glad I missed this episode.
It's a terrible episode. Absolutely god awful. And then they have an onsen scene. And then it's all the little girls, right? So there's nothing worth seeing, first of all. And then they're talking about relationships. And Minori, who are you into? It's pretty obvious, right? I like Shiroi. Blah, blah, blah. How are you with Nyanta, Sarah? Oh, I love Nyanta. Blah,
Wait,
blah, blah.
that was in Odyssey Nights.
Okay, now I'm starting to blend.
I've seen that one.
Really?
Yeah. And then Sarah was freaking out and starts doing front crawl everywhere. It's pretty funny. And then the vampire girl stands up and goes oh.
Onesama.
Yeah, and then they're like...
Okay, sorry. So when the concert ends, go back to that. Toya, is starting to figure out that Nuraha's fake, and she's completely faking everything, because she smiles at him, and he says, I hate it when you smile. And she ruffles, she touches her hair, and she says, do you hate me? And he's like, I don't hate you, but I hate it when you're fake, or something like that. So he's catching on, and she's, she doesn't know how to handle that. And then, so dumb. So, they also reveal that the cathedral, the fake, or the mobile cathedral, when it's around you, you can't use telepathy. Because Shiroi tries to contact Nyanta, who's apparently secretly watching over them, just in case. He can't contact Nyanta, and Nyanta can't contact him, and they can't use telepathy in the entire city that they're in, because the cathedral's in there. So that's kind of cool. And then the last thing is a bunch of wyverns attack, and when I mean a bunch, I mean an entire, million swarm. A lot of wyverns come out of nowhere, and they start swarming the city. And they're everybody's we're gonna die, we're gonna get owned. And then it cuts to Nyanta, and he's standing on a goddamn hill, and he just opens his eyes, and he lets out this huge ass smile. And it's Soup-san, I'm gonna go hunting. And the comments were just like, Nianta's just thinking about how many ingredients he's going to get from this battle. It's awesome.
How many what?
Ingredients.
Oh, exactly. But aren't they? Isn't he supposed to be letting the kids do it because they're trying to get their bag?
Yep.
The wyverns were the goal, right?
Yep.
Oh, that's handy.
It is pretty heavy.
How shoehorned is that?
So this is just, these last few episodes have been god awful. Oh my god. It's just, I've been saying that a lot now. It's just terrible. Thanks, big guy. They're just terrible.
Just bringing you in the conversation.
I hate it. I hate it.
Okay, so we're gonna have a problem with this one.
Wait. I feel like there's something else supposed to talk about log, but I'm having trouble remembering.
You said there was a big reveal, but you talk about it later.
No, you're talking about there's the moon thing.
Oh.
Whatever.
So this is gonna be tough, because
Why?
Dura especially is difficult to track, and we have 2 episodes, and it's gonna blur like crap.
Durarara episode 4, Win in Rome, do as Romans do, and episode 5, No one knows what the future holds. Okay, I think I know what
Let's
happened.
just throw stuff out there.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Celtic being chased by bikers,
Yes.
yellow scarf dudes apparently don't care about their old leader, and they're like,
Yeah.
let's tell me where Celtic is, and they get saved by Dotachin. And by the way, I love the fact that Miyuki is on the van.
Oh yeah. And she hasn't left.
I just love it. It's just hilarious. And then they're running from bikers and
Dude,
stuff.
Samurai Flamenco appeared.
And then Celtic.
Did you see that?
What?
Samurai
No, that was Harakiri Sunshine, not flamenco.
Yeah, but Harakiri Sunshine was a big part of Samurai Flamenco.
Yeah, but it's not flamenco.
He's not a real character, is he?
But he is.
He's not real. I thought he was made up in...
He's both. Don't you remember what happened to Samurai Flamenco? Parallel universes. He's real in one universe, in another universe he's a manga and an anime.
Yeah, but in real life, our real life, is Harakiri Sunshine exist?
No.
So then that was Samurai Flamenco.
It's not.
There was a reference of Samurai Flamenco.
Yeah, I guess.
I like that. Samurai Flamenco was our first podcast, man.
Yeah.
This is why I like Dura. Anyways, okay, so you're right. They're getting chased. Dotachin has a van full of children.
It's basically Celti,
Are you sure this wasn't a couple episodes ago?
no, because I watched both these episodes yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Celti makes a shadow web, stops the... I like how a freaking arm, like, comes out of her bag.
Yeah.
And she's like, is that an arm? Oh my god, I'm in trouble. And she wraps it up. And then the greatest part was the fact that when she has the web and she's like fighting the guys, he just freaking comes out of the bag and he's like, run away, I got this. And he just like starts beating people up. And then like the Hollywood serial killer comes out. And then she's like, I'm here to repay a debt. And she's just like beating people up in a suit of headless
I was
armor.
smiling the biggest smile in this moment because this series is such a gong show sometimes.
It's just like, what's that? I'm like,
But
what's
do you know
going
what
on?
happened with Saika?
Which one's Saika?
The boob girl you hate.
I mean, a sword came out of her shoulder.
Okay,
That was weird.
The boob girl, her alternate, like, possession, she's possessed by this thing called Saika. And if Saika stabs people with a sword that she makes, then they become subservient to her and she can control them whenever she wants.
Oh, so that's why he called her mama.
Yeah. So she accidentally stabbed him back then so that she could control him now. That's why he said, I'm going to protect mama.
Oh.
That's the girl.
Glad you explained this to me.
She has that ability. So then they're fighting.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. There was a big arc in Dura after we left where that was a big deal. Yeah.
So, Celti gets saved by Headless Knight and that guy. And I like how Celti, she picks up Boob Girl, whatever her name is, and takes off, but she leaves Forehead Kun, and he has to go back in the van. And he actually gets thrown in by Dotachin, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But of course, with every single episode, the highlight is always with the best character, which is Shizuo. And he's just hanging out, having a smoke, gets punched in the face by a guy who's rolling up his sleeves, and beats the crap out of this guy. And I did you write down the name of this guy? The new guy?
No.
Okay, because I hate his guts. Because I hate people, both in real life and in anime, who are obsessed with being a white knight. And I hate them so much. And he's like, oh, if you touch a woman, I'll beat you. You should never lay your hand on a woman, yada, yada, yada. Granted, you shouldn't hurt people in general. But this guy, it's just a scum. He's just being a scumbag.
Man, recapping Duro is hard. Okay, there's also more. So, at another point in time, the big, awesome chat room that is every main character and nobody really knows is every main character.
But they all know, don't they?
Sort of. Not everyone knows, but some know.
Okay.
Like, whatever. Izaya knows. The sisters kind of know that Izaya's that one.
Yeah, Forehead Kun knows.
Forehead Kun knows that his buddy. You know what I mean? So they all talk. So it's kind of been revealed that, I have his name. Kita. Kita pulls aside Mikado, Ryujimine-kun or whatever his name is, and says, look, man, like, trouble's coming, you better be careful. That's because Kita has Yellow Scarf connections still. And he kind of knows.
I thought the girl was yellow scarves.
No, the girl was blue.
Oh, okay.
Something.
Blue squares.
Yeah, or whatever. So anyways, if I'm right, if I'm wrong, correct me, it's been a while, but whatever. So they're having a big talk, and then Celti gets pulled aside because she has to have a meeting with a guy with a scar, and this is all flashback. So apparently what happened, wait, it wasn't flashback.
It wasn't, no, it wasn't.
So, but,
that was real time.
But what happened with the sisters of Izaya, her name Myru and Kuri.
They had Mama guy.
Yeah.
Igor. They had him get in the bag. They had the Russian sushi guy, not Simon, the other guy.
Yeah.
Hire Celti so they could meet her.
And Celti got paid back all her money.
She got paid most of it, and Shinra got paid the other part, so that she has all her money back. So she's made no money off of this.
But she got the money that she lost.
Yeah. But she's made no money off of this.
Which was good. Which is good. So anyways, that happened, and now they're sitting in this really awkward thing where this guy beat the crap out of anybody who doesn't, like, protect the guests.
He's being rude.
Yeah, it's true. The guy was a good guy. What did he hire her to do?
Either kill or, like, kidnap the little girl.
The little girl. And the little girl
was so cute.
And the little girl appeared
she's
to
like,
Shizuo.
Of all people.
Yeah.
The unkillable monster. And she's like, die. And I'm like, I thought she pulled out a gun.
Yeah.
Cause I'm like, if anything, a gun will at least hurt him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's saying
he shocks her electrically.
She shocks him. I'm like, you have a stun gun? That's not gonna do anything.
Then he knocks her down, and everyone's like, "Oh, you molester!" And he's like running away. She's holding on to him. You know what? Tom is like the highlight of this series. He's like, how do you stay so calm in amongst the chaos that is Shizuo's life?
He's used to it. I love how when the white guys cut his bartender clothes. Yeah. Tom just steps back and does a cross, like he makes a cross motion.
He's like, "See you later, buddy."
Just the rest of
smokes a cigarette. Okay, so going back to the guy that Shizuo beat up, she was a good guy. He dropped him off at Celti's place with Shinra.
Yeah, and he
they dealt with it, and then he got sent away.
Shizuo is a good guy, and I like how he tells his entire gang, "Don't mess with Shizuo." Yeah. I know firsthand now. Just don't do it.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, the guy the bandage guy now is bringing all of his gang to fight the dollars.
Yep.
And he's having a really funny public service announcement to his group. And I don't know how they're hearing each other, but whatever.
I don't know how the people that are like on the other side of the bridge can hear him, but
they probably just nod and then do whatever everyone else says to do. But
and again, he's like, "Don't beat a woman or I'll kill you." You're just shut up.
That's another gang war coming. I like that.
I don't like White Knights.
But how's Durarara so far? Pretty good, hey?
I loved these last two episodes.
Yeah.
Well, okay, loved is a strong word. I like these last two episodes. Yeah. It took 17 episodes, but I finally like Durarara. It took 17 episodes for me to like the series.
You would have really liked the last half of Durarara too. Maybe one day we'll watch it, but
we won't.
It was really good. I'm being dead serious. It was really good. Anyway,
I said that about the first half too.
Durarara, awesome. The story's so convoluted. We have to recap it once a week, or else
that's like Final Fantasy 13. It gets great 50 hours in. Then what's the point of playing the first 50 hours?
Oh, here it is.
All right, let's move on to Your Lie in April, episodes 16, 17, Two of a Kind, and Twilight. These two episodes gave me like 5 wallpapers. There was just so many beautiful scenes that I got some nice wallpapers.
So in Two of a Kind, we're beginning to get more training with Kosei training the little girl.
Nagi, I think is her name.
Nagi, yes. And we find out...
So we were wrong.
We were so wrong, it wasn't even funny.
We were way off base.
He was,
She's the sister of the Super Saiyan.
Takashi's sister.
Yeah.
I
didn't see that coming.
Didn't. But it makes sense, and I'm so glad they did that.
Oh, it makes way more sense than her being Kawai's sister.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they didn't go with what we thought.
Yeah. So anyways, good for them.
In classic anime fashion, he becomes friends with her when he chases her down, and they have like a sunset talk.
Yeah, on the
and like the shrine or whatever.
Oh, the shrine, yeah.
And they just have a heart to heart. He buys her a sweet potato.
So he's getting really close to Nagi because Kosei's a good guy. Kosei doesn't have any two-faced, and he's really earnest, and he does his best.
Kosei's like you and I, or he's the most, with a few exceptions, he's pretty much one of the most normal anime characters, most lifelike, most real.
Yeah.
So that's why I say he's like you and me. He's like, he acts so much like a real kid, like we would, that it's easy to understand him. And they finally, cause I've been asking this question for a few episodes, how old is Nagi? And they finally told me in the 13? Twilight. She's 13. Because, I mean, because Tsubaki and Kaori were jealous that he's teaching her. And I'm like, she's like 10 years old. Why would you be jealous of a 10-year-old? But no, she's 13, and I forgot Kosei is actually 14. So that's not that much of a difference.
So, your
Or
lie,
it's 15.
two of a kind, ended pretty intensely.
So, oh my god. So I don't know what you're saying.
Just keep... Why can't you learn sign language?
Well, you use different signs every single time.
This means continue.
It looks like you're calling me crazy.
No, you continue.
Okay. So, sorry about that. He, was this the episode or was it the one after where he starts having, like, he starts freaking out having flashbacks to his mom? I think it's both, actually.
It was the end of this episode.
He's having flashbacks to his mother because Kaori's starting to act a lot like her, and it's just not good. So basically, at the very end, he finally musters up the courage to... Actually, no. Was this... I'm confused now. Was this the episode where she sneaks out to go to school?
Yes.
Okay. So, she sneaks out just to see him. Just to see him. And they have a date. A really nice date.
Oh, wait, no, that was probably 2 episodes ago. Because we got a flashback in the most
know.
recent episode about that day.
But that could have been last episode.
So, but why would they have flashback the
confused.
thing that just happened?
It wouldn't have just happened. It was an episode ago.
I guess so.
Okay, I'm going to go on the assumption that was two of a kind.
Okay.
So, God. So he goes on the date with Kaori. It's really nice. But, I don't know if you noticed, she got paler with every scene.
Oh, dude, her hair is white now.
Yeah.
Like when it flashed back to how vibrant she was on stage and everything, like her hair was so blonde and her
Yeah.
eyes were so blue, and now she's like this pale ghost.
Yeah.
And she totally has the same disease as her mom.
Absolutely.
Because she's like, let's commit double suicide at the end of the
Oh,
Two of a
man,
Kind.
that line.
Then at the beginning of Twilight, she goes, just kidding. Like, pretty too long of a delay for my liking.
She wasn't kidding, though.
No.
She absolutely was not. And here's the thing. Because she knows she's dying, she admits to him that she's dying. She doesn't want to die alone. Right? If they commit double suicide together, she would die with the guy she loves. That's the line of thinking there. It was just and she says just kidding because she knows it's a ridiculous thought to have.
Oh yeah, tell me what you said about the book she's reading.
Oh, in the anime, she's reading the book that the author read, which was the inspiration for this anime. So she's reading the inspiration for her own character, pretty much. And the quote she says is from that book.
Interesting. Okay, so Twilight, we have an interesting turn where Kosei is just wrecked. He doesn't want to go see this girl because so many things are happening. She reminds him of his mom, okay, because it's the same thing. She is freaking him out. He just wants to do something with her, but he can't do anything. Good guy watcher, he pulls him aside, says, look, man, like, you gotta be the man in the situation.
They actually have a pretty decent fight there.
Yeah.
But you can see you can see just how defeated Kosei was when he just kind of pulls Kosei and then Kosei just collapses. He just doesn't know what to do.
So Kosei ends up manning up and visiting her, and he's kind of barely making it through. But when Kaori told Kosei that she's not doing well, Kosei immediately disregards any notion of traveling overseas. He gave that up.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
He did.
No, he didn't.
He did.
That's still happening.
No, because Tsubaki was saying that when he told her that he wasn't going...
That was for him to go to the hospital to visit her, and he said he's not going to visit her.
Oh. So she felt relieved when she said he wasn't going?
Yeah, because he wasn't going to see Kaori.
Oh, okay. My bad. Never mind.
Oh my god.
Well, it could have been went either way, but whatever. So anyway, she's
He'd
now...
be an idiot if he decided to throw that away.
She's now going to a school near his so they could be together.
Which I like.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cute.
Yeah, good for her.
Also, her one and only competition is dying, so it's pretty much open game.
Yeah, it is.
Well, there's Emmy and there's Nagi, but let's be honest here.
Nagi's too young, and Emmy, I actually want Emmy more than...
I want
Tsubaki.
Emmy more, but they don't have much of a relationship.
No. It's kind of more of a, what do you call that, masochist relationship.
I was thinking more was they're just rivals.
Yeah.
Not that Kosei thinks so.
So, Kosei agreed to participate in Nagi's
So Kosei...
fair thing.
Her cultural festival.
Yes.
So Kosei has become Kaori. He's doing exactly what Kaori did for him for Nagi.
Yes.
Except the genders and the roles are reversed. And it's nice. And I like how her hands are shaking and he holds her hand and like
his hands are shaking.
and his hands are shaking and she remembers the words that everybody's always afraid. And you can
It's
only
a really
do your
cute
best.
ending. I liked it.
And I can't wait to see the Super Saiyan's face when he sees his kid sister walking on stage
With his enemy.
With his enemy.
So good.
It's gonna be amazing.
And he was just getting excited that she got over him. Ooh, he's gonna be.
Oh, she moved on.
The Syscon Brocon's gonna be real here in a second.
It's funny.
So, man, you know how you said that Ace of Diamonds is like a giant blue balls every time?
Yeah.
Okay. Your lie in April feels that way too. When I'm at 15 minutes and they're talking about a performance, I'm like, oh, the performance is not this episode.
They never end an episode with a performance.
They wouldn't.
It's always build up to the performance. Like, I didn't even, cause the Culture Festival was dropped this episode, like Kosei wanted to perform in it. So as soon as they dropped the ball, I was like, I know exactly how this episode's gonna end. It's gonna end with him walking on stage.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And I like, so, okay. So when Kosei made Kaori finally laugh with him being all childish and stuff, and I like when they like bounce back to that.
Yeah.
When you have someone in that position, that's all you can really do. When I was 14-ish, I made friends with this girl who got cancer, right? And I had another, Ray and I both made friends with her. And then things weren't going so well, and I asked Ray, what can we do? We're just kids, what do we do for this girl? And he told me, all you can do at this kind of time, and this is actually pretty good insight from a 14-year-old. He said, all you can do is make her laugh. That's all we're good at doing, and that's the only thing that we can do that can make her better. And that's what Kosei did. He made her laugh. No, she's still alive.
Oh, good.
She's not dead.
Oh, I was expecting a bad turn to that story.
It's not the end of your lie, all right?
I'm really excited for your lie this week.
You mean next week?
This week.
This week already happened.
Well, this week is the next 7 days.
No, that's next week.
No, this week, like, your lie happened already, so this week's your lie is coming up.
No, this week's your lie already happened yesterday.
Oh my gosh, English, forget it. We're gonna be arguing forever on semantics, it doesn't even make sense.
Okay, moving on to Assassination Classroom episode 4, Grown Up Time.
You're wrong, bro.
Moving on to Akatsuki no Yona episode 17, The Pirates of Awa, and episode 18,
you're wrong.
You just let me finish. Yeah. That was nice. Alright, so, I like the Green Dragon.
Yep.
Cause I like how he's obsessed with Hawk.
And when we thought they were buddies in the intro, they weren't actually buddies. It's more like
I need you! Oh my god.
It's like a forced buddy situation.
I like how, when he's basically fake proclaiming his love for Hawk and his need for him. Yeah. And then, does everybody say like, they're gay! And Hawk's like, oh god, no, please. Leave me alone. I have Yona. Okay, also, I absolutely love when Hawk teases her about her loving him and her not realizing it. And he's like, well, you let go of the Green Dragon, but you said you have to have me. Huh? What'd that mean?
She blushes. Yeah, does she actually like him?
She does, but she doesn't know it.
She's so funny. You know how guys are usually the ones who are just,
dense.
She's so, like, she's so dense. I love how is the word for dense. So, okay, in the Pirates of Awa, our friendly crew of dragons and Bishonens and princesses wandering around the city of Awa, and they're finding out that it's super corrupt. And Yona comes into a situation where...
That's the next episode.
Really?
Where the kid dies.
Oh, that's so rough. That's rough. I was like, what? Anyways, so... Okay, in Pirates of Awa, that's where we meet the Green Dragon.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're at ties, because nothing really happens in that other than...
the Hawk and the dragon became kind of buddy-buddy. They beat up a guy together. He takes Hawk to like a brothel, and they hang out there. And I love the fact that Yoon chastises him, and Yona's like, Yoon, Hawk just needs to visit those places sometimes. And then she's like, Hawk, if you ever need to like release that urge, tell me, and then you can go.
And Hawk's like, what do you even know? Like, what are you even saying to me?
I love how she's just like, Hawk has a need.
She's such a bro. She's such a bro. But Hawk gets so mad because he's like, no.
He's like, you shouldn't be saying that.
Be jealous or something. So in Ties, this is where Yona and team are wandering around, and all of a sudden, these officers get like really rough in a building. Like, we can't do anything, so they move on. They finally meet Green Dragon. Green Dragon gets his blood reversed. He's like, but I don't want to be subservient.
I like it's the same speech every single time that happens to them.
Yeah.
And I do like how they bring back...
You will love him and you will protect him.
Yeah. And they bring back the opening, the first opening. So, I don't care for the speech, but every time they bring back the opening, I'm like, yes, opening one more.
So that happens. He says, I don't want to do this. They're like, Yona's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can leave.
You can leave. I can't really force you to do anything, but I would like to meet your pirate woman. And then, woman. So then they go back to the place, and the kid died, and Yona's like, "Bruh," like orbs of fire in her eyes and all that stuff. Like,
It's like the second time it's happened.
yeah, she's like raging. So that all happens. Hawk explains everything. Everyone's like, "Oh, that makes sense." Blue Dragon's left alone. Poor guy. Then
Why is he alone?
I don't know, because they had to watch.
Oh, because
Camp?
I think the mask would just draw too much attention.
Yeah.
And I love how she like pulls off his mask. She's like, I need to trust you. And he just hides his face.
Yeah.
Because he's so shy.
I love the little reactions and little chibi moments. It's really funny. Anyway, so they go to the boat. The men show off their skills. The beach shonen shows off his utility. Yona shows off she's useless.
He talks about his utility.
Yeah. Yona's useless, but then
All right,
she's
so Yona.
passionate.
She's like, you can't do anything, can you? I'm like, the entire time I was yelling at my screen, say you can shoot a bow or
Yeah.
use a bow.
Yeah.
You can use a bow. I've seen you use the bow. Your crew has seen you use a bow. Somebody tell this woman that she can use a bow.
Nope. She just said, "But I like your eyes. You're passionate." Okay.
So next episode,
That
it's
was-
pretty obvious what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, did you watch a preview? Of course you didn't. So, her test of courage is she has to like scale a wall or something like a really thin wall that you can easily fall off of. Green Dragon can fly. Guess what that means? Yona's gonna fall and Green Dragon's...
Good job. You're going to save her.
Thank you. English is hard. Green Dragon is gonna save her. He's gonna fall for her in the subservient way, in the master servant way. And we're like, alright, I'm gonna join this crew.
But I think they're going to be pirates for a while.
They're not gonna be pirates, but they're gonna join forces. Because I'm pretty sure the next arc, or I hesitate to call it an arc. Let's call it a mini arc. The next mini arc is good. The next mini arc is gonna be them taking down this emperor dude.
Good. He deserves to die. He's probably going to be fat.
Actually, it looks like a badass from the opening.
Oh,
from what I
really?
can see.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so since you already introduced it,
Ask Class Episode 4, Grown Up Time, also known as the introduction of Bitch Sensei. And I'm so glad they kept her name. I was hoping that they wouldn't like censor it or something, but no, just write out Bitch Sensei or Bitch Nissan. It's all good.
her name's Irina?
Yeah,
Irina?
Irina something.
That's what I'll be calling her.
Irina?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll call her Bitch Sensei.
Okay. We'll get best of both worlds. So Irina gets introduced, and she is just as flaunty and floozy as she is in the manga. There's nothing changed.
Well, she's supposed to be, though.
I know.
Her entire goal is to seduce men or an octopus and then kill them. I love how she walks into the room and she writes on the board, "You were great at bed." And then hearing a bunch of Japanese kids say it in their broken ass
And they had no
English
idea what it was.
so funny.
And I love how when they translated it into Japanese idioms,
Yeah.
it was like, "You're good in the sack." And then they're like, "Oh no!" Like, how does that?
The greatest thing was when she said it, it was awful. It was actually worse than the kids saying it.
Yeah.
And I laughed so hard. And I thought to myself, what idiot VIP would be seduced by that?
Yeah.
It was just so funny.
Okay, so the whole episode can be summed up in this, okay? Irina Sensei joins the crew. She is so obsessed with killing Koro Sensei that she shirks the kids, doesn't care about them at all. She tries multiple times to kill him with lead bullets. Did someone not inform her about the BBs?
Apparently not.
Whatever.
Well, they gave her a BB gun, but she never used
She
it.
fails, then she gets cleaned, undressed, changed into gym uniform.
Do you think if she used the BBs, she would have
Oh, yeah.
killed them?
No, because he knew everything was there. He smelt everything.
But he wouldn't be able to smell them if they were BB guns.
Yeah, but he smelt the men who were in there.
Ah, you got a point.
So anyways, he knew it. He tricked her. She was upset. She tried to get
He gives her a
after
massage, combs her hair, puts her in a gym uniform,
Yeah.
and then like she makes all these moans, which I guess could be from the massage feeling really good.
I think he douched her.
I don't know, but I think he copped a feel while he was changing her.
He might have.
At Mach 10.
He said she cleaned stuff, and she's like, "I didn't like being touched there," so maybe he douched her.
I highly doubt it. It's horribly inappropriate
Isn't
for a
it?
teacher to do.
But his face, his gray face, is just like. I mean, that's the face.
Grown-ups in their own kind of clinic.
See what I mean? And he's like, "That's a suspicious face." So anyways, Irina Sensei gets back into the thing and says, "You know what?" Like, and after getting talked to by Kimura, who's good guy Kimura forever, is like, "You know what? This is a great classroom. He's a horrible guy. We gotta kill him, but he's also a really good teacher, and you gotta earn the respect of the kids or you're out." And she's like, "Oh." So then she tries to teach them in her own way, and all's good in the classroom.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And then it goes on from there. This is Assassination Classroom. These are the antics. Like, this is what happens. The underlying theme is pretty much kids need to be respected and thought as an individual. They need to be seen for who they are, and you need to teach them at that level. That's pretty much what it is. And it just takes an alien with tentacles to do it.
Yeah. Except he's not an alien.
I want to talk about this really badly.
Death Parade episodes 4 and 5. Death Arcade and Death March.
Both episodes great for what they were.
Death Arcade made me sad, man.
Oh man.
That woman was a bitch.
But she went down. I knew that.
Yeah,
I
she
saw
went
the
to hell.
mask.
She deserved
I saw
it.
the mask.
She
this time.
deserved it.
She was horrible. Okay, so if you didn't watch it or if you did, whatever. But the woman and the man are here. The man's an otaku geek kind of thing, and the woman is a TV star, but she made unwise decisions leading up to her stardom. She became a star because she had a big family.
And she had a big family because she got pregnant as a teenager.
And she was dumb. She made dumb mistakes and kept picking stupid men who abused her.
Yeah, that sucks, being abused.
You know, that's why I kind of felt for her.
But it doesn't give you an excuse to be an asshole.
No, it doesn't. Okay, so they got set up to play an arcade game where they had themselves as like Street Fighter characters with their own special moves. And as they were playing, Deckham was using a button to pop the top off of their arcade stick to make things go along. And we find out that Otaku Boy's mom died. Then he got a stepmom who...
he never accepted.
Sorry, his mom didn't die. His mom left him because she said she hated him and wished he was never born.
Mm-hmm.
Then the new mom came in and he never accepted her. So he just shut himself in his room all day and then one day thought of committing suicide and did it.
Yeah. He's like, my life sucks. Then I go, his life was good.
Yeah.
His life was really good.
The mom, not the mom of the otaku, but the mom of the many kids, the star mom, she was rude. She was happy that everything was going well with her family, but then she was really rude to this girl and got strangled.
More than rude, she slapped her.
Yeah.
She freaking slapped her agent or whatever.
Yeah, and
then she got choked out like she deserved.
Yeah, and so she's dead.
Bitch got choked.
And so at the end of the whole thing, they're kerfuffling, they're fighting. She slams his face against his arcade station so many times that his face is bleeding.
And covered in glass.
And covered in glass, and he passes out, right? She's crazy. They stand up, and then, for the first time ever, Deckham actually offers a hug.
Well, he doesn't offer it, she just takes it. Doesn't
And then he starts crying, and they're like...
And they both start crying because they both regret their life choices.
He's like, you both did well, but in the end, he was reincarnated and she wasn't.
Which I think is interesting because everybody has a different stance on suicide. I know some people are like, if you commit suicide, you go to hell, blah, 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 blah. I like the fact that they looked at him and it's like the suicide was a mistake, but he wasn't a bad person, so he gets to go to heaven.
I think if he hadn't have regretted it, he would have gone down. But he regretted it and wanted to try again.
I don't know. It was sad.
We're not going to judge our own religious choices on Death Parade, okay?
Hey, I'm not judging.
So let's not go too deep into it.
I'm just saying, it made me sad, man.
Yeah, it was sad.
I felt bad for his mom.
This is why I liked going into Death March. In Death March, we finally get to see the back end of all the operations a little bit more, and that's what I like. So, Nona is playing, I want to play this, Galaxy Billiards with the guy closest to God, apparently.
I think pool is really boring.
Oh, I love pool.
Doesn't matter what kind of balls you have.
Mine are white. You talking about race? Anyways, so Nona is wrecking this old guy. This old guy's like, well, I'm the closest to God. God doesn't exist. All this kind of thing. Nona's like, I've been here for 82 years. Blah, 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 blah. Then Clavis comes up and they high five and we'll go down the elevator, right? Meanwhile, Duo Deckham, is that his name? Quinn Deckham. Deckham. So Deckham and
Quinn Deckham's the name of the bar.
Oh, okay. Deckham and Ona are serving a new group. Deckham notices something really strange about memories, but he doesn't say anything about it. Then this big fat guy and this little kid come down, and the big guy starts remembering doing this before. He freaks out, starts almost killing the kid. He pins the fat guy up to the wall, but then the kid goes nuts and knocks out Ona.
They have a sweet fight.
Yeah. Oh, man, I want this to be a battle series. They do animation and fight scenes so well.
It was awesome. Deckham spiderwebs against this guy's water.
What's his name? Ginta? Gilta?
I don't know.
Ginta? I think it's Ginta or something, but I'm going to say Ginta. Sorry if I'm wrong. Ginta versus Deckham. Oh, man. Like Spider-Fez versus water? Oh, that's so cool.
Pretty cool. He made a mess of Deckham's house, though.
Yeah. So they battle. It turns out that Nona comes downstairs and says Deckham failed. It was a test to check to see how Deckham handled the procedures, and he failed. Mm-hmm. If you don't get memories, you got to shut down the game. That's pretty much how it is. So then Nona's frustrated, goes upstairs to Skull Mask Girl, who is 7,000 people a minute are dying?
Yeah, so she's the one who basically, like, orders the people to go through Quinn Deckham and this world that they're in.
Yeah.
So, and it's only one person. One person sorting through every dead soul.
How tiring.
Yeah. She must be overworked.
But there's got to be other areas where the single people go, because this is...
Yeah, that's the Ginta. It's happening next episode, which is today.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I don't know if it's single people or if it's like some other
because
thing, but whatever.
Decim only handles the people who died at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an interesting concept, but I'm wondering what Ginta will do.
So another big reveal is that Ona was someone Decim couldn't judge.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Because she, unlike anyone else in his however many years of doing this, remembered. She knew she was dead as soon as she got there. And he didn't know what to do. So in his panic, which was pretty interesting, he wipes her memories, and then now she's serving as his assistant.
Nona wiped his memories. So it wasn't really a panic. I mean, it had to go through executive decisions. Nona was the one who wiped
But it
the
wasn't
memories.
panic. Like, he could have judged her,
Yeah.
but he doesn't know what to do, so he asked Nona to do it for him.
He's only been there for 5 years. In light of how long they live, he's pretty much a rookie.
I guess, but still. And so Nona keeps having flashbacks to this story, which is probably about her.
Ona having the flashbacks.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And Nona's reading the book.
Nona is reading the book.
Nona's reading the book, and she's putting hints every time, because like he put that new scoreboard up, which had that picture of the girl, which is what I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be her. I'm pretty sure, or she was the boy.
So
she's either the boy.
Nona knows her memories and is trying to remind her of them.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I think so.
I'm excited for Death Parade really shot up my list this week.
I actually really like the opening for this
Yeah.
anime, even though it has absolutely nothing to do with the anime.
Whoa.
It makes me feel good.
Yeah, it
Like
does.
I'm ready for a party.
It's got nothing to do with what's going on, how heavy-handed the themes are in this series, but it's bumping. Okay.
All right, now moving on to Saekano episodes 4 and 5. Episode 4 being budget, deadline, and new development. 5 being the date event of Crossing Paths. So episode 4, what's her name? Utaha. We get a little glimpse into her life as a teenage
this one.
writer.
Yeah.
Which I always call bullshit on this, because I don't believe that someone can be a successful writer and go to high school at the same time. No. It's just, you can't do it.
But she's a genius.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't buy it. But whatever. I like that. I like how uncooperative she is with interviews. She's like, I don't want to do any interviews. I'm just stay home. I want to write. Leave me alone. But she'll do it because Kirito's there. And then,
Tomoya?
yeah. So the interview itself, he turns her non-answers into like entire like PR answers. And
Yeah.
he would be so good at PR. Incredible. And it's great how he single-handedly made her a success by posting her on
That
his
is really
blog.
cool.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
She owes all of her success to him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't think
I think
she
it was
does.
very similar to what happened to Michiru? Is it her name?
The hell?
Oh, Eriru. Who's
Mi-
Michiru?
You mean Eri?
Who's Michiru?
I don't know.
Oh,
Probably the cousin.
The cousin. Anyways, Eriri? Eri?
Or Spencer, as I call her.
Or Spencer. Let's call Spencer. Yeah, I like that. So, I think it's similar to what happened to Spencer, honestly. Must have been. He features some of her artwork on his website and boom.
Maybe. The thing is, good art gets picked up much faster than good writing because you can just tell at a glance, you know?
So at the end of that, Tomoya finishes the interview with Utaha. He finds out that they work late hours. And then he goes home because he's pretty tired or whatever.
It was pretty funny. Like, it's late at night and she's like, this is actually when we just started editing.
Yeah. And he's like, oh my gosh.
It's a lot like software
So
development.
the next day, he's having his first circle meeting and Spencer comes to the door and goes, her classic entrance. Oh, I feel bad that you're all alone, but it's not like I want to help you, but I guess I will anyways. And then Utaha goes, if you can drop your tsundere act and just come in, that's fine. Then they have this really funny banter where, Utaha says, well, you courted me over the weekend. And then Spencer goes, but I wasn't courted. And Tomoya goes, okay, Utaha, stop saying things that are confusing people. And Spencer, think before you speak, okay? Because you're giving away things that you probably don't want to give away.
See, this dialogue is exactly the same kind of dialogue that we get in, Sakuraso.
Yes.
Which is why I love this series, this Saekano. I love it because it reminds me so much of Sakuraso. And I freaking love Sakuraso. But, so the great thing about, this is really realistic about this game. I figured they would just go for a digital release, but they actually want to sell it. And selling a game requires a lot more than you think.
Money and
It does cost a lot of money to sell a game. And Tomoya didn't think of that. And I like how they actually drop numbers on him. They're like, this is how much we make if we sell this much. This is how much I make out of novels. This is how much I make out of my drawings. A lot of money. And, But he doesn't have like some kind of, he doesn't have a way to get money quick other than getting money from Utaha, but he doesn't want to do that because it'll make...
Yeah, you don't want to dip into your friend's bank account.
Also, it'll make Spencer mad and, you know,
okay,
blah, 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 blah.
What was with Tomoya freaking out about Kato's cousin? Is it just because he has this...
Because he's in love with Kato.
He is?
Yeah.
He's more in love with Kato's heroine image.
No, but I think he's...
There's an underlying thing, but that's not what
he's definitely in love with
right
her.
now.
He's definitely in love with her.
And he's freaking out because he doesn't want her with his cousin? Why is he freaking out about a cousin?
Because cousin is a common thing in manga.
Oh, the cousin coming in and...
Also, his freaking cousin is in love with him.
Yeah, that's true. He probably has experience. So, he interjects and says, you know what? I'm gonna go on the date with you instead.
Well, he's like, it's not a date, and I'll prove it to you. Go out with me.
Yeah.
But he thinks it's a date, and she's like, alright, sure, I don't mind going out with you.
Everybody else thinks it's a date. Spencer thinks it's a date. Uda thinks it's a date.
He thinks it's a date.
Dude, the women's reactions in the next episode, the date event of Crossfest is so funny.
I love Utaha going yandere. Yandere is my favorite archetype.
Yeah.
And her just going crazy.
So he's talking to Uta about something, and Spencer goes and destroys her paper.
Yeah.
Right? So then he goes talks to Spencer, and Uta just slams her like laptop onto the ground.
And then she
picks it up and starts coming like, I've got it. It's just strangling and death. And...
I also like how when he goes to look at her, she's just typing on over and over.
Yeah.
And then he feeds her a
That's
Pocky.
what made the girl rip out the thing. Is he was feeding her the food, and she went. It was pretty funny. Okay, so it ended up where him and he's trying to get advice from Spencer to go on a date, and Spencer's like, "Well, you know what? Like, is this for real? Oh, you tricked me. It's actually Kato."
Well, he did lie to her. He said it's purely hypothetical, and then he's like, "Oh, Kato, blah blah blah."
Whatever. He just doesn't care. So then he's talking to Kato, and Spencer's eavesdropping. He's like, "Let's just do this." So they go on their date, and I love how he tackles the date as if he was going to
He's like,
Akiba or something.
all I have to do is pretend that these are my people.
Yeah. And he did really well. And he made it like information like broke. He got everything. He figured out the shortest lines here, the shortest lines there.
It's very similar to how I did things at PAX.
Yeah. You have to.
It made me pretty happy. Yeah. I mean, the first year I went to PAX, I wandered around everywhere. Second year, I was like, I know exactly where to go.
Yeah. So you figure it out. You do the thing. He was redeemed to Kato. It was really cute. And then when she bought the glasses, it was
glasses. She's like, I think these look good on you. And she's like, these look good on you. I think. And I'm like, can you show me, please? And I cut to them. I'm like,
nah.
No, it doesn't. leave the regular glasses.
So he left her for what reason again?
He's gonna go apologize to Utaha. Because now that he's in love with Kato, he understands the feelings that Utaha has for him. And how he didn't give her an answer. That's what she said. When she confessed to him.
Oh, she did confess to him. Okay.
He didn't answer her. He didn't say no. He didn't say yes. And not giving an answer is worse than giving an ansher. It really is.
You leave them in this limbo of like Facebook friend, like not accepting.
Well, they don't know if they can move on or if they should stick around. Like you don't know what to do. And now that he knows this, now that he knows what this feels like, he's gonna go apologize. He's gonna give her the answer she deserves.
I'm really glad I picked the series back up.
It's good.
It was really good. So speaking of series, just in general.
And he knows, sorry.
That's okay.
He knows that both Utaha and Spencer are in love with him. He knows for sure. But he doesn't pick either.
No.
I understand why he's not into Spencer. Utaha, I'm pretty sure he didn't go out with her for the sake of her career. I'm about 99% sure that's why he did that.
Though.
I think Utaha's the best girl so far. There's still 2 more to be introduced.
I think you'd like the cousin best.
But I like Kato. Well, I don't know. Okay, I like the cousin from the first episode because she's the best looking, but I don't know her personality yet. So in terms of personality, I like Utaha the best for now.
So, anyways, like what I was saying was, speaking of series, I'm still watching Yaro no Yatterman. I like it, but we're not going to cover it. We dropped Rolling Girls. We just couldn't handle it anymore.
It got boring.
It got really boring. And all the other ones that we dropped are still there. We're not going to cover Roger's Harem Corner today. Today. Are you still covering those?
I'm still watching all of those, yes.
Okay, so he's still watching all of them. Maybe we'll recap them next week. We're just running a little short on time. Our guest will arrive any minute, and we're going to be discussing D&D. So I think he actually just arrived. So we'll be right back with Dave.
So we're back with Dave, our first ever guest on this podcast. How you doing, Dave?
Woo! Glad to be the first guest. Excited.
So we're going to talk about some D&D stuff. Since we just had a session, last Saturday?
Yeah, last Saturday.
Our Revive Spencer session.
How did you feel about that session?
Honestly, I was a bit disappointed with that session. I didn't really think that it was as epic as it could have been. Felt kind of rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
felt
maybe-
a little bit let down.
Well, we were kind of strapped for time at the end
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but we wasted a lot of time fighting spiders and ghosts and whatnot that had nothing to do with bringing Spencer's character back to life, right? Like there was, or like even the werewolf that we fought on the way had nothing to do with driving the story forwards. Which like I don't mind fighting random monsters and stuff, but if we're on our way to do this epic quest and we know that people want to be going home around midnight or so,
Or even earlier,
yeah.
if that's okay.
yeah, exactly. Then like as the DM should be catering to what the group wants, right? And the group wanted an epic, bring back Pat Anderson quest, and that's not what we got.
So you know what it's like to be a DM. Me and Raj have had no experience with that. We've only been
Yeah.
players, not even experienced players at that. So can you kind of explain the process to our listeners? How do you do DMing in not League of Legends, D&D?
What?
Well, it varies a lot depending on your group of players, your personal style as a DM, and what you're trying to get out of a session, right? So, if your group doesn't really have a set goal at the moment, it's your job to provide them with something to work towards, right?
Yeah.
And then as soon as they zero in on something that they want to achieve, it's like you want to put obstacles in the way that are fun obstacles that they have to overcome, but you don't want to actively steer them away from what they're trying to achieve.
And that's what I sort of felt happened with Brad, the other guy who was DMing. It had happened that way. We were all of us. It was so cool. We all were sitting down at your table eating food,
Yeah.
and every person who walked in said how excited they were for this session. Like they couldn't stop thinking about it. They were excited about it. All this stuff. The session was exciting, but I hit a bunch of player DM roadblocks that I didn't appreciate.
Yeah,
in
like,
that
it wasn't a bad session
No, not
per
at all.
se, but it wasn't what we wanted. And a big thing that a good DM has to keep in mind is, well, it can be difficult, right? Because as a player, you get really attached to the character that you create, right? As a DM, the same thing can happen because like each session you're creating new enemies, new monsters, new obstacles, whatever, and you can get really attached to those. And when things don't go exactly the way that you want them to, which is super common, a DM will often steer it back towards
What they
what they wanted the outcome to be, right?
Mhm.
Which is not their job, right? At all.
Sort of like communism. Everybody
What?
works together,
What?
but often communism is derailed by a horribly corrupt leader. If communism was ruled by a fair and just person, communism would work great.
I think that's way too political.
This is what I have to do. This is what I have to deal with on a weekly basis. Okay, you said you hit player DM roadblocks. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so here's a couple of examples. One of the biggest ones. Do you remember when I was complaining about Ryan trying to manipulate the DM and what he was doing? Like, you should do this, you should do this, right? I don't like that. I like, if I'm going to be playing D&D, I'm going to be role-playing, and I'm not allowed to talk to God. Right? Like, I'm not going to be like, yo, God, I don't like that it's raining today. Can you make it sunny instead? You got to deal with the hand you're dealt.
It's true. The
Yeah.
DM is not a normal player sitting at the table.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something that our friend Ryan in particular has issues with, because he is very good at RP, but he gets like a really grand picture in his head of what he wants his character to achieve.
Yeah.
And it's not a one character party, it's not a one character game. So that can that can lead to some DM roadblocks, but also creates player roadblocks between each
So
other.
with that in mind, what I meant to say was the DM needs to be the kind of person who can adapt, roll with the punches a little bit, right? When I was playing Elsa and I walked out and I was trying to convince the orc to come with us, or the stone
The
giant
yeah.
to come down with us from the mountain, and I rolled well, I gave good reasons. Like, there was no reason in my mind, logically, why the stone giant wouldn't take his wife down with us the mountain, right? I told everything, the truth and everything.
Especially since you provided for this giant, for the people that are listening, basically, we were trying to bring a player back to life. We climbed up a mountain to find this certain flower that a druid needed to resurrect this character. It's all very complex, I know. And we found a giant that had collected all these flowers because he was trying to bring his giant wife back to life. Yeah. And Spencer provided this giant with a means to do that, because you said if you bring her down the mountain and to this druid, he'll be able to bring her back to life as well. And
I was kind of lying though because she wouldn't be a stone giant, but I rolled well enough that he wouldn't know that.
Yeah. Well, and she would be brought back to life, but you never said as what, right? So it's technically still the truth. And as the DM, like first of all, you're not rolling against a particularly intelligent creature, so they wouldn't really be able to tell if you're lying or not. And that's like a successful strategy. That's something that they would be looking for. He wants this to be brought back to life. You're giving this monster an avenue for that. And as the DM, he ignored that.
But I felt like we were shoehorned into a battle.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even complete the battle. We ran away.
Because of Dave. Like, because oftentimes, like, this is one of the reasons, like, I really like Brad. He's a great guy, but he's super busy right now. But I think even if he was unbusy, I feel like his level of DMing at this point is he has a book and he's reading a story. And if all of a sudden you ask him to read a different book, he doesn't want to read that book. He likes his book, but he can't deviate. Like, I feel like you and Paul have the knowledge to deviate and improvise. And I feel like that's kind of lacking in that.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, Brad does a lot of preparation, which is awesome. Yeah. But he only prepares for one avenue, right? Like you're saying, he's got one book that he's reading. Yeah. And, that's like, if you prepare too much, then you're going to railroad people. There's also another ideal that a good DM should keep in mind is the idea of failing forwards, kind of thing, right? And that is basically, if you roll badly, it shouldn't be just nothing happens, right? Like, there were certain points or whatever when we're playing as Brad of the DM, and you roll a perception check, which is, for people that don't know, to see what you see around you, right? And you'll roll a perception check or a history check to know something about like the history of something, and Brad will just say, "Oh, you don't know." As a DM, what he should be saying is, "This is what you know," and even though you rolled badly, that's the information that your character is working with. And it's probably wrong, but he's still giving you something, right? So you're failing forward. Something is always happening. He used to do that
with the potions. He did that when we got the potions, right?
Well, screwed me over.
He did that kind of, right? Because that still wasn't necessarily a fail forwards. That was just saying you know this much information about it, which is a little bit different. Like, it's the same thing for like an athletics check, right? When you were trying to climb down a cliff, Raj, you did a terrible roll.
Yeah.
And so you just fall, right? But failing forwards, you would still fall, but maybe you cling onto the edge or something, like you panic and you turn around and you don't necessarily just like jump off to your death.
You would have some sort of latent mindset.
There would be there would be something else that happens with it, not just you fail.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. There's like the creativity aspect. Mm-hmm. Like my brother, we play that silly RPG life game that we play. Whenever you roll a 1, he comes up with the most spectacular fail.
Something has to happen. Yeah, it's not just that you didn't do it; it's that you screwed up so badly that you now have consequences to deal with.
How many times because no one really told us we couldn't, and I've kind of stopped doing it, but I roll. I don't tell anybody what I'm doing. I just roll because I'm gonna say it, and it's like a 2, and I'm like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that. Like, you tried, you failed, something should happen afterwards.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
if you roll the dice like that, you only roll the dice for a purpose.
It's like a card laid as a card.
You don't do little tests and stuff like.
No, yeah, I know that. But I thought if you failed, nothing happens. So
no.
That's kind of what Brad kind of been teaching us.
And that's kind of also on the players as well. Like, people just kind of keep it quiet because you don't like to fail, obviously. And as a DM, Brad's not really encouraging that kind of environment where if you do fail, something creative is going to happen. It's just be like, oh no, you screwed up. You don't know, right? Whereas, a good DM should be fostering an environment where even if you're rolling a 2 or a 1, you're like, oh man, like, I messed up. I wonder what's going to happen to me. And like, you actually want to find out what that 1 or 2 or 3 roll is going to get you.
One of the only things I'm worried about is like the delicate social balance that D&D is. It's a bunch of guys coming together and playing a game based on imagination. And people are assuming roles and responsibility and a little bit of pride in those roles. And Brad has assumed the pride of being the DM at this point. Mm-hmm. But there's a little bit of unrest. And you try to approach him, and he wants to try again or keep going. I don't know how to, because I'm a kind of a new entrance into this group. You, Brad, and Paul and Ryan have been doing this for ages.
Yeah, probably like 4, maybe 5 years.
Yeah. only that long? I thought you did when you were kids.
It's a long time.
No.
Oh, you just started. Okay, whatever. 5 years, longer than us.
I think
Obviously.
5 years is more than just started.
Okay, yeah, you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
So for us to come in and say, you know what, you're not a good DM, you're better. That's rude, and I don't really want to do that. I'm only saying what I feel is that I feel like my imagination and creativity is being stagnated by a lack of give.
Which is fair, and we talked about this, and I agree with you that it's not that he's a bad DM, it's just that maybe he's a better player.
So, moving aside from that, because
Yeah.
we're excited to keep playing. Actually, the community that's being built around D&D, I think, is far greater than you thought it would be.
Well, that's what I'm always surprised about is whenever I bring up D&D to people, it used to always be with a little bit of hesitation, and pretty much everybody that I've talked to it about is, if not been interested in playing it, has been curious about it. Like, I've never been like, oh, you play D&D? Like, what a nerd. Get out of my face. Like, I've only ever had people be like, oh, like, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And they'll ask you questions about it. Or even, I've been really surprised at the amount of people that have tried it before. And you just never know because people are afraid to bring it up.
Yeah. It's like a weird taboo kind of thing. But
Yeah.
our generation was raised alongside JRPGs, RPGs, MMOs. Like, we've kind of grown to understand the language as if it was like a second language of ours. And it kind of just fits.
Going back to the session, sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, go ahead.
The only thing I didn't like about it is the fact that you hardcore broke character.
Oh, man, that was bad.
Hardcore.
Well, no, I technically didn't.
No, but you did.
But I didn't.
At what
So
point? At what point?
the entire session, Spencer played Elsa or whatever your name was.
Whatever.
I think I called you Jocelyn like 6 times. You played Jocelyn as a coward. Pretty much. You clung to Dave's character.
She wasn't a coward. She was
scared.
young. She was young and immature.
scared. Okay.
Young and immature.
But she was scared of everything.
Yeah,
Every monster
things
we
were
fought, she was
new.
afraid
Things
of.
were new.
Yeah, okay. So when she sees a giant orc or a troll or whatever it was, or was it just a giant?
That was a giant.
Stone
It was a
giant.
giant.
It
So when
was
she
huge.
saw a giant, she suddenly gets this courage out of nowhere and decides to transform and use her magic to try to talk to this thing.
So let me explain it and what I was trying to do. Brand new character, never played this person before. A girl who had left, who has all her family's dead. Okay, she's immature, she's young, she's only 18, she hasn't been on any adventures before, wanders up a mountain with a bunch of burly men, and a woman who looks like a demon.
Yep.
Okay, and there's a lot of small things that are happening and building up and building up. We're all of a sudden pushed right up where I can see the flowers, I know stone giant, like I know giant, adrenaline kicks in, and I'm pushed into the role. Nobody else knows giant. He is failing at communicating with the giant because he does not know the language. You do not want to telepathically link with anybody, so I'm...
But then you broke character by having him threaten the giant. Why would you do that?
I was
Okay,
playing a
so
role in the game.
Everybody breaks character, right?
It's
Yeah,
hard to
Raj,
not.
I know that I break character. I know you break character too.
And I broke character the last session before when Spencer actually
Yeah,
died.
that was a pretty harsh break of character
Yeah.
as well, right? So it happens.
It's hard to...
and it
Yeah.
takes practice, right? Like
The
I
only
know.
one who's really good is Ryan. Like,
Well, he refuses to break character. Like he never will. Like he was literally, basically, this last session we found a door, and there was a great source of evil behind it, and he's a paladin, so he wanted to go fight that, and we basically forced him to run away, and he is now like stripped his character of all privileges
And honor
and
and stuff.
honor and everything. Just like has like basically debuffed himself because of we made him run away. So like he's the only one that really sticks to character, and I know for me I find it hard to stick to my character because he has a low intelligence score, and so I come up with like strategies and stuff. I'm like, oh man, that's awesome, but he's not smart, so he would not be able to come up with that. So then I have to censor myself a little bit. Right? It's difficult. It takes time.
It's hard.
You got to know your character well. You got to know, like, not just who your character is, what they want, but also what your stat scores would kind of distribute as their behavior.
And if you look at me, I don't know Elsa at all. I was really wanting to get my character back. This was looking really bad. I was like, it's getting to be about 11 o'clock at this point. I'm tired.
I had planned to leave at 10.
So I was like, you know what? Let's just streamline this bad boy and get her done.
You were trying to end it.
Brad refused to jostle with me, right? So I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm breaking character even more now.
The main reason I had an issue with you breaking character is that you and I got into an argument because you didn't know that my character had telepathy, but you were telling me that you knew it.
I know, I broke...
But that was complete. You were mixing player knowledge with character knowledge.
yeah.
Yeah. And you tried to convince me so harshly that you knew I could do it.
It's because I didn't know anything about your class.
It's because he thought that
I
the
thought
ability
telepathy was a race thing, yeah.
he thought it was a racial ability, not a class ability.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a racial ability, then he could have known it.
Yeah.
Well, I was a
Because he
book smart
reads-
person.
Book smart,
he's-
so book smart. You know
Yeah.
about an ancient god from another dimension.
Well, that's the thing. Like even like because you're like he would still know stuff about warlocks, but since your pact is with this ancient old god that nobody knows except you,
Yeah.
there's no way that he'd be able to know you.
Exactly.
So I apologize for that.
Which is fine.
But,
it stunted our progression. We spent too much. Even Brian got annoyed with us.
Yeah.
Like he just started moving on because we were
took-
arguing too much.
Once the battle ended, I shut Elsa down. Like I gave her
you did.
PTSD. I shut her down. I don't want anyone ever using this character again. Like I pretty much cut off everything.
But you had color spray, Spencer. Such a good
Color
spell.
spray. Okay, so speaking of color spray,
Yeah.
the session ended. We brought Pat back. We rolled him back as a halfling again. The same freaking halfling that he died as. And
We were all
we were all
disappointed.
no. So we rolled him again. He's a dwarf. At this point, all lore is broken. I'm not really interested in coming back as Pat the dwarf barbarian because I don't know how to explain it. Because we came back, we rolled. It was a halfling again, but now we twisted lore. The session itself seemed
it's
weird.
kind of broken, right? Whereas like the session was not exciting as we wanted it to. People, except for Ryan, everybody was breaking character at some point. There is no goal now. I don't even know what we're doing. I don't know where we're supposed to head from here. And it's. I think that honestly, this was also our first campaign that we ran in 5th edition, and I think people were kind of getting used to it and whatnot. Now we're kind of used to it. Maybe time to reboot.
Speaking of which,
I'm okay with that. I made a new character.
Who'd you make?
I made a monk. I was looking at other classes, and the two I liked most were monk and thief.
Yeah.
And so it took me like 3 hours to make the damn thing, because every time I would talk about something, I would go to that section and read the entire chapter about it.
Yeah.
So, but it's cool because now I understand.
So did you
everything.
actually go out and buy the book?
No, I just torrented it.
Yeah.
Like an asshole.
That's fine.
And then I gave it to Spencer because he asked.
Yeah.
So, like, it took me a long time, but I learned, like, now I understand.
You learn a lot from actually reading the book. It's helpful.
You learn so much by making a character because it makes you, like, I understand modifiers now. I understand how they work.
Yeah.
I understand what makes me, like, gives me a better chance to hit more.
And like each dice roll, what it's actually doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now it all makes sense to me. Because before, I would just kind of have you hold my hand with the lane, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand anything. I'm just Eldritch blasting everything I can.
And I think the coolest thing from that is, like, if we can understand our characters, we can then go into the RP a little more, like roleplay a little.
Because
more
once you
deeply.
know the mechanic of your character, then you can actually just be the character rather than trying to figure out what you can
Exactly.
do.
Yeah.
And then we can have 4 people doing what Dave does and creatively destroys enemies instead of just all of us hack and slashing.
Yeah, there's that too. Like, I didn't really understand. Like, I knew what my spells did, but I didn't know how to use them, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's the thing that I really enjoy actually about 5th edition is the best spells aren't the ones that do damage. They're the ones that mess people up, right? Like in the last session, you did a spell that knocked a harpy unconscious, right?
Sleep spell.
Asleep, or you put it to sleep.
No, that was you.
That was
me. I have a
Spencer.
sleep
Okay.
spell, yeah.
So Spencer put a harpy to sleep. It's a flying creature. Put it to sleep. So it hits the ground unconscious next to a cliff. And then I used a move that was, or I had already been using a spell that had a big gust of wind that then pushed that sleeping harpy off the cliff, dead. Didn't have to do a single damage roll.
No.
It just died.
Those are tough spells because, like, they're HP pool spells. I've never used them before. Like color spray and sleep. You have to roll your
Takes some getting used to.
D8 a bunch of times in order to
create
get a
the
pool big
that
enough to maintain a
operate
character's
from.
HP total, and it was really weird. It was hard, but I had a really good appreciation of spellcasters. I've always been a really melee ranged
that's why
character.
That's why I wanted to also make a monk, because I like being a spellcaster, but I don't like only having 2 spells.
Mm-hmm.
2 spells like that I can prepare, or no, I can prepare like 3, but I can use 2 because I only have 2 spell slots, and I don't get any more for a while.
That's
irritating.
specifically for the warlock class.
Yeah, I know.
They get less casts per. Well, it's kind of awkward because their spell slots operate on a short rest system. Other classes operate on a long rest system.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how often you're taking breaks.
But you have to get your team in on that.
Well, and so
right?
yeah, like if you've got a group that's got a bard, a fighter, and a warlock, all 3 of those classes like to operate off of short rests, so they'll probably be taking more short rests. if you've got a warlock in a party with a cleric, a paladin, a wizard.
Sounds like our party.
Exactly, like our party. It's more of a long rest party because their stuff is not going to.
Yeah, like that fight we had with
yeah.
the Wraiths. I blew everything I had in that fight because I figured that we could take a short rest, but no, like because we wanted to end the session, wanted to go home.
That's frustrating for you, right?
So
Yeah.
then, because I felt useless, all I had left was my regular cantrips.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to give Brad another chance. Because is there any way that we can let him know our sort of complaints, like try to be more creative, all that stuff, or would that offend him?
I'd say that's a conversation for after next session.
Okay.
Like he's sitting down. He's been working on this next session already, so I would be saying that we give him another chance, and then after that,
Okay.
bring stuff to him if it's not at least getting towards being fixed.
And I really want to use my new monk.
Yeah.
Although
Well,
I really like the lane too.
So another thing that I don't know if this is an appropriate spot to talk about
You
it,
go ahead.
but
We talk about this stuff.
yeah.
We talk about our lives all the time.
You were talking about how you talked to your friend Ray
Yes.
and your brother
Yeah.
that wanted to play.
Georgie wants to play?
Bryce.
Oh.
My brother, Ray, is separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
English is hard.
So I was thinking maybe if you wanted to have like an intro session for them, I could DM a session for you guys.
Oh,
those people.
That'd be pretty
Like
interesting.
on a different day or a different week than what we do with the other groups. So we
Okay.
kind of, at least for one session, have two groups going to have it like an intro for those people and just see how that goes.
Okay, so it would be me, or I don't even. It'd be me, you, Ray, and Bryce, and you.
Yeah, and like if there was one other person that wanted to play, that would be fine.
Interesting, because I'd like to work around like Bryce. He works, and
Yeah.
then he has evenings off, and we could probably figure that out. Ray's. I told him to kind of look forward to because he's coming today
Yeah,
in probably 18 minutes or
Is he
whatever.
actually though?
He probably will.
Okay.
probably.
Probably will.
Whatever. So he'll come and we'll chat with him then. Just because I sent him the book as well. Just to, I told him what pages to read, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, there's a lot of reading," and it's a little off-putting.
It's not as much as you think.
I know.
but Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, well, the thing is, honestly, I enjoy it myself. Like you're talking about how it really helps to learn your character by reading all this stuff.
Yeah.
It really helps to learn the game by making multiple characters and doing that for each character. Like I do that sometimes. I make characters that I'm not even going to play just so I understand how this class operates and how I can work with that in a party.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps to even like sit in with when other people are making their character, or when you have time to just read up on stuff.
Speaking of being in a party, I find it super difficult not to tell people what to do. Like,
Yeah.
not because I feel like I need to command people to do something, but like you said, I have a grand vision
Yeah.
and nobody's following it.
Yeah, I don't
So,
do that. I just
There's
play.
yeah, like well, and there's nothing wrong with how we play. Is we see something, let's go fight it.
Yeah.
Whereas there's nothing wrong with being okay, guys. Let's sit here for a second. Let's make a strategy and then go in, and then you're all sharing the same vision, right? Like that's possible. You can do that.
Yeah.
But
we just don't that
Yeah.
often. We're surrounded by a lot of trigger-happy people.
Oh yeah, delayed pre-trigger.
But I feel like if we started again, or if we kind of turned a new leaf for this next section that Brad's doing, I think we're slowly getting better at it.
Yeah,
Like we're all slowly figuring it out.
yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna try to be a dwarf barbarian. I really like that class.
Yeah.
I like the idea of being a meat shield.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of doing all the fancy stuff. I'll just be a tank for the team, run up there, take a bunch of hits, and walk out. As long as we have a cleric or someone who can heal me.
Well, I'll
after.
still have my cleric around, I think. The only thing is you're talking about being a barbarian. You're talking about being a monk, right?
Yeah.
So, and we'll look over those characters in a little bit if you guys want. But there's certain classes that are what the D&D boards call MAD, which means multiple attribute dependent. All right? And those two are like the peak of multiple attribute dependent. Because of their feature unarmored defense.
Yeah.
All right.
We can
like,
both be unarmored?
you guys can both be unarmored. Now, first of all, what that means is that cuts down on if you choose to go that route, you don't have to. That cuts down on an item slot. Like you're not going to be getting magic armor then. There's other things that can boost your defenses, like magic amulets of protection and stuff like that. But it cuts down on a slot. But what that also means is for your unarmored defense, Spencer, you're playing a barbarian. That goes off of your dexterity, and your constitution, right? But your main attack stat
Is strength.
is strength.
Yeah.
And like dexterity could be an attack stat, but when you're raging as a barbarian, you only get bonuses to strength attacks.
I read
So
that,
that's
yeah.
basically giving you 3 attributes that you want to be bumping up and keeping high all the way through your campaign.
Yeah.
Also, none of those are really social or check abilities, right? Like dexterity can give you stealth check a little bit. Constitution, I don't think has any skill checks. Maybe endurance checks. Yeah, endurance checks are those are more just con saves. So I'm getting off track.
Yeah, keep going.
But
It's fine.
basically, you're not going to be good at talking to people. You're not going to be good at seeing things. You're not going to be smart.
So I pretty much went to the abyss and came back a retard. Oh my gosh.
Pretty much.
I might want to think about that a little bit.
Monk,
So-
from what I read, is pretty similar, except I don't depend on strength. I depend
So-
on dexterity.
Yeah, so for monk, your unarmored defense comes off of your dexterity and your wisdom.
Yeah.
Your attacks also come off your dexterity.
Yeah.
Which all looks pretty good on paper.
Okay.
Right? Dexterity gives you your armor,
Mhm.
and it gives you your attack. And then wisdom gives you some good checks, and it gives you your defense as well.
Sounds good, bro.
Yeah.
But you have to be on the front lines. And the max AC that you'll ever get out of dexterity and wisdom is 20. That's the max you'll ever reach without
Uh-huh.
magic items. That's okay. It's not the highest, so you will be getting hit. So without paying any attention to your constitution, you're going to have low HP. Especially since your...
My constitution is really low.
Yeah, exactly. Your constitution is going to be low, and your hit dice that's dictating your HP is, I believe, D8s.
It's D8, yeah.
Right? So for Spencer,
It's
as
D12s.
a
What?
barbarian, you get the most HP
That's
out of the
huge.
game.
It's D12s, man.
That's
Yeah.
enormous.
Look, I'm going to
Yeah.
roll ones, but I mean...
I
Well, no,
rolled a 1 on
like,
my HP.
But still, like barbarians get a huge amount of HP, but their AC does not go off their attack stat.
Oh, D&D is so complicated, but so good
Monks,
at the same time.
monks get, their attack stat goes into their armor, and they get good checks, but their HP is low. So they have high mobility, but you got to be careful. You got to be hiding behind Spencer if you be a monk,
Makes sense.
because you will get hit. You have no armor.
So we'll be buddies in the
You
front
will.
line.
Well, let's be honest here. I'm used to going down as
Yeah,
Delane.
yeah.
Every time I get hit, I'm down to less than half HP because Delane's so squishy.
So you will have better defenses than your warlock for
Yeah.
sure, but a monk is by no means like any kind of tank.
Right.
They're kind of a frontline attacker, but you want to be using their mobility because they get bonuses to being able to jump away from people.
Yeah.
They also get bonuses to their speed.
I get like bonus dodging and I can bonus dashing and disengaging.
Yeah, and
I'm not sure what dodging is though.
So that's just like an action you can take instead of doing an attack. I think you can do it as a bonus action
Yeah,
as a
I
monk
can.
though. You can set it up so that when somebody tries to attack you in melee, they have disadvantage on that attack roll.
Oh, okay.
So it's a good defensive thing, right? But still, like you'll be wanting to move around as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Spencer wants to get up there, start his rage, just bash on folks and stay there. You want to be like coming up, punch, and then run away.
Right.
Sounds like we make a pretty good team, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely room there.
That's the reason I really like Monk is also it uses the short rest system just like Warlock,
Hmm.
but
But it still operates well throughout the whole day.
But
Yeah.
but I'm not going to be like a barbarian for the campaign that you use the monk unless Delane dies.
I could switch her out if Brad lets me.
Yeah.
Can you just switch characters out? Is it DM specific?
I could send Delane on vacation.
It depends on the DM. There's nothing stopping you if you don't want to be Delane anymore. You don't have to, right? The only thing is that usually any kind of campaign-specific bonuses, there's stuff DMs can give out like boons and charms.
We haven't
and
gotten
stuff
any
like
of
that.
those.
no, he
we
gave me a
have-
cloak.
We haven't gotten any of that stuff. We should be getting stuff at the end of like epic campaigns and whatnot, which we haven't really done.
We haven't
too much
done any
yet.
epic campaigns.
But like there's persistent passive bonuses you can be getting. There's magic items you can be getting. There's all sorts of rewards. If I was the DM and you wanted to start a new character, I'd be fine. But you're coming in with base gold and no magic items.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And level
yeah.
1, I assume?
No,
No.
that's like I would make them be the
You would
lowest.
murder me.
Yeah, personally, I would make them the lowest current party member level,
Which would be 3.
which would be 3 in
Which
our
is you,
current
right?
group.
You're 4?
I'm 4. Delane is 4.
Well, it would be Pat. He didn't get any
Yeah,
experience.
no, Pat would be 3.
Like that poor Magikarp you're trying to level up to level 20 and it dies at 19. Okay, so quick question, because come on, I think it was a good reference.
That's good. It's
So we have about 10-ish minutes left before Ray comes in, and
Alright.
he doesn't know enough tact probably to not knock like you didn't. Can you share two things? One,
Yeah.
your most exciting D&D experience ever,
Okay.
and two, how can new players get into D&D?
How can new players?
Because we got lucky and met someone who was, don't like that go to your head, but like a genius at D&D. And we moved in and just kind of adopted your teaching, sort of, right? If somebody just has a group of 5 guys and says, let's do this, how do they do that? So you can talk
Okay.
about those in any order.
Well, yeah, I'll start off with my. Well, there's kind of two things for D&D that really stuck out to me the most, and this was actually playing 4th edition, which is the previous edition to what we're playing now. I was playing a dwarf rune priest, which is kind of a front lines. They're a lot like a cleric, but they're not holy. They literally are artisans, and they use runes to heal or hurt people, which is actually a really cool class. I hope that they bring it out in another book eventually. It never got a whole lot of support before. It doesn't matter. I liked the class. But there was one session in particular that we didn't actually fight a single time. It was all just like checks and talks and just like creative thinking that got us through the session. It was basically, we come to this town in our giant talking turtle Peterson that we had gotten through some random thing, and we had created for ourselves a tavern in his shell. So we lived in his shell. We went from town to town with him. I can't remember exactly what happened, but we got everybody into this town, from this town to
Sounds
come
like
to
Mama
our
Hawk.
tavern to make money. Sorry?
Sounds like an anime we're talking
Yeah.
about, actually.
We got everybody in this town to come to our turtle tavern. Oh, also he had an enchantment that we had put on him where he could fly. He was a flying.
Oh my god.
Well, how do you get stuff like this?
This was with Paul.
Oh, we've been nowhere near this in our
I
D&D
know, right?
sessions.
But it was awesome, and I can't remember how. But I think one of the people we were playing with that's kind of a lot like Raj, likes to bust down doors rather than try to open them. He poisoned our brew supply or something. So this whole town was he was like, we're gonna rob this whole town. They come in, everybody's there. The first person's about to take a sip, and then the DM rolls a skill check and gets a 20, and it instantly notices that it's poisoned. It's like, it's poisoned, so this whole town revolts against us. And we all what we chose to do was we all hold on to something in the bar. Somebody had a mental connection with the turtle, so it tells the turtle to fly, and then go on its side and just shake everybody out of the turtle. They all fall out, and then we had to. Sorry, I'm gonna phone call. Get out of here. We had to get a quest out of this town though, so we didn't know that. First of all, these people were being poisoned. This guy poisoned the stuff without telling us, and we still wanted to talk to these people. So they're like, the only way that we will ever be friends with you ever again is if you kill this dragon on top of this mountain near our town. So we leave Peterson behind, climb up this mountain. We get up there, and at the top of this mountain is not just a normal. There's different levels of dragons, right? There's
It's blue, green.
there's chromatic dragons, and then there's metallic dragons, right? So chromatic is blue, green, black, stuff like that, colors, and then there's metallic, is gold, silver, bronze, platinum, stuff like that. We get up there, and it's a gold dragon, which is elder dragon, super strong. We're not high enough level to fight this thing at all. So we're sitting there. I was the only person that knew Draconic, so I rolled to try to talk to this dragon. I can't remember exactly what I said to him, but I rolled a 20. We become best friends with this dragon. We'd convince him that this mountain is too cold for him, not a cool place to live, so he's gonna go fly away to live on a tropical island. And he bestows a dragon's boon on our turtle, so now it can breathe fire. And we become become best friends with the town, become best friends with the dragon. Dragon flies away. Didn't fight a single thing that session, but it was epic. It was awesome.
That is D&D in a nutshell.
That's pretty cool.
If you have stories like that, even the biggest person who says, "Oh, it's geeky," whatever, how can you not want to do something like that, right?
Yeah. And from that campaign, there's a lot of cool stuff, just unique battles, fighting on broken ships, and just having to roll acrobatic checks to balance on boards that are floating in the water and stuff.
Is Paul ever coming home?
He's gonna be back for 2 weeks in the next. He comes tomorrow. He's here for 2
Can
weeks.
he guest DM?
I would like him to very much. He's like, when he's on his game, he's the best DM I've ever had.
Because I think you were planning on a secret session or like a smaller session. I'd love to join that one if I could.
Yeah, cool.
Secret session.
No, it's not a secret session. I invited you guys. But, yeah.
Okay, so how do people get into this?
How to get involved? How I got involved was through my friend Paul. I was lucky enough to... He didn't really know much more than I did at that time. Actually, we kind of learned together, but he was the driving force. I never really had that much interest to go search it out myself. But he sat me down, we played one day, and it was awesome. How he was introduced was at the Penny Arcade Expo, PAX, in Seattle. There's actually a lot of rooms off of the main conference hall that have tabletop games that you can just walk in and you can play. And they have professional DMs there that you can sit down, you can ask them anything, and they know way more than I know. And they will sit and talk to you for as long as you want. And they'll tell you as much as you want to know. Obviously, that doesn't happen very often. The PAX Expo happens, I think, twice a year now, East and West. But there's even just go to like a hobby shop, and there's way more of them than you think in your neighborhood. Like in Surrey, there's, from where we're sitting right now, there are 3 hobby shops that sell D&D supplies within a 15-minute drive.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I go to one in Surrey Central.
Yeah, that one's okay.
Okay.
Like, it has D&D supplies. They don't, like, the guy that owns that store, he knows a lot about games. He's awesome, but he doesn't know so much about D&D.
Yeah, I usually go there for deck building games.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
Yeah, he knows a lot about deck building. He knows a lot about even just like fun party games and stuff. He knows a ton about. There's one in Langley, just across the street from Willowbrook Mall, called Game Stars. That one's awesome. They've got more supplies for D&D, and they know more about D&D as well.
I might want to get some dice. I think I might get some dice from there.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to get my own dice.
Yeah.
I think.
So that's always a good jumping off point. The best thing you can do to get into D&D, if you're interested, if you have like a group of 4 guys or whatever, go in together on a D&D starter box. For 4E, it was called the Red Box. I don't know what it's called for 5E, but there is an equivalent.
Yeah, there is an equivalent.
Yeah.
It's like $40 or something.
It's not expensive,
it's
really.
Cheap.
Like, if you think about it, like, if you were to go buy some Subway, a case of beer, and the starter box, if there's 4 of you, chip in, like, split the cost, that's the same as going to the pub for a night. And it gives you, like, a campaign for a couple sessions. And it gives
and you can use online dice rollers too. You can get character sheets online as well.
And in that box you get, I think it's 5 pre-made characters, a pre-made campaign that's laid out very simply for somebody just to sit down and read through, and it gives you the DM every tip they need for that particular campaign. It's not super in depth, but it tells them everything they need to run that. It gives you a map, and it gives you the means to make a rudimentary character of your own.
Well, that's awesome. Obviously, you have to buy the character handbook and the DM handbook
to get really deep into it. There's 3. So basically, for 5e, it's pretty new. It hasn't even been out for a year yet. It came out September of last year. They had a playtest that was going on for a while, but for the actual core game, there's only 4 supplies they've released. There's the starter box. There's the player's handbook, which gives you everything that you need as a player.
That's what we look at all the time, right?
Yeah, it's all the rules you need to know as a player, everything you need to know to make any of the classes they've released so far from 1st to 20th level. It doesn't really give you any magic items, but any base equipment that you'd be using is in there. Anything a player needs is in that. Then they released the monster manual, which is literally about the same size, just full of things that you can fight. And then there's the Dungeons Master handbook that gives some stuff on building NPCs, some stuff on campaigns. Like, it gives all sorts of scenarios. If they're chasing somebody, roll a d10. This is an obstacle that's in their way or something like that. It also gives a ton of magic items, which Brad hasn't really given out too much yet, and he hopefully will start, because that adds a whole another layer of depth to the game.
Yeah, I think that was a wasted moment at Thunder Tree when we were searching through houses and found nothing.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
Well, he handed us items.
He tried to give me a poison cloak as we were fighting the dragon. Like that's
Well, he
not.
tried to give it to you before, and then he changed his mind.
No, yeah.
No,
well,
it was like mid-fight.
No, like we haven't like there's tons of really cool magic items, and the cool thing is, since for 4E there was an online builder where you could build a character online,
I remember
which was
that.
really really useful and cheap, and you could bring your character everywhere with you just off the internet. But it was very rigid. You were set within the confines, right? And it had all the items that were ever made in that builder and stuff, right? Since we're strictly off paper right now, the DM can make up whatever they want. They can be like, you get this. It doesn't have to be a prescribed item out of the
Exactly.
book, right? Like, you can make stuff up.
And I know that Raj and I currently are borrowing the handbook, but I actually do have plans to buy it because I really support
Yeah.
what
It's
the Wizards
not
of the East Coast are
it's
doing.
not expensive, and honestly, I personally really prefer having the hard copy
Yeah.
book. I can flip through it easier. I can have it with me when I'm playing. Like, what does that spell do again? I can flip to it rather than trying to find it online. I also have torrented versions of all 3 books they've released: Dungeon Masters, Monster Manual, and Player Handbook, just so that I have that material there. Especially since Brad and I both have the Player Handbook, but we share the Monster Manual and DM guide. So, it's good to have the online resource, but exactly, if you want them to keep coming out with more books and stuff like that, you got to support them.
And it's odd because it's like we started and I was laptop and I was phone. I was like, yeah, I'm the future. But I used a paper character sheet for the first time, and oh my goodness, it makes a huge difference.
It's way easier.
having it because having it just right there. I don't know. It's just something about having
Well,
it
and
physical.
I
keeps
prefer
you-
just having the PDF on my phone.
It keeps you, well, like the paper keeps you more in the moment, because it's like, I know where it is on the paper. I can look at it right away. If it's on the other sheet, I flip it, rather than like scrolling through your phone, zooming in, trying to find pictures of spells you took pictures of and stuff, right? Like, it's
Yeah,
much
especially
easier.
spells on a cue card too.
Yeah.
Even it's just like because you had a huge stack, and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm gonna have a long rest. What spells am I gonna prepare? Boom, done.
Yeah, and I don't write down like the full spell on there. I write like kind of Cliff Notes version of the spell, and if I'm confused about my notes, I can go back to the player handbook. But yeah, it's useful to have it written down. And personally, like, online dice to me just do not compare to rolling the actual dice.
Oh, rolling is more fun.
Yeah,
So
Do you think they're gonna release
Yeah.
like
An online
more
builder?
characters?
they will
Or
eventually.
I mean, more classes.
More classes, maybe. What they've done is they've added a lot more path options for characters in 5e.
what are path options?
So, like, for a barbarian, right? You can be
The berserker and the
you can be a
totem.
berserker or a totem,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, there's the base barbarian class, but as you progress, you can choose one path over another, and you get other stuff that the other path doesn't get. So I can see them for sure adding more paths. I don't know about adding too many more classes, because a lot of the classes that were there were more classes in 4E. Obviously, it was around for longer. And they'll probably add some stuff like there was some crazy like mental classes, Scion and Battle Mind and stuff that were pretty cool. But for the most part, like I would see them adding more path options and spell options for existing classes than making too many other base classes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Cool.
also in older editions of Dungeons and Dragons, which I actually really hope they add into here, is there were advanced classes. So basically, to get an advanced class, you had to meet prerequisites, obviously, right? And what that could be was, if you wanted to be a harper, which is kind of like this adventuring agency kind of thing, you had to find a harper and commit a quest for them or something, right? Or if you wanted to be a death knight, you had to find an existing death knight, kill him, and take his armor.
That's
and you
awesome.
could become a death knight. Or there's other things like you could be an arcane archer.
That's like in a lot of RPGs. They do that.
Yeah,
Like they don't
yeah.
let you unlock classes until you've done a certain thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Like
Or-
a necromancer is usually something that's unlocked.
Yeah, and like
later
so
on.
there was ways like that you could quest and get an advanced class. Then you'd have to choose to, instead of progressing barbarian, because each time you level up, you can choose to take a level of the class you already have, or you can take a level of another one and multi-class.
You can multi-class?
Yeah,
In 4E.
in 5e,
What?
every single time you level up, you choose what you gain a level in. So you have like your character level of, like, I could be a character level 4, and I could be character level 4, 3 barbarian, 1 fighter. And I
So you
have
could be
all
a
the
jack of all trades, technically at
Yeah.
level 20.
yeah, so like I have all the benefits of a barbarian 3 and a fighter 4. Your proficiency bonus goes off of your class level, and each time you level up, you basically just gain an extra hit dice of whatever.
So I could be a
class
cleric archer?
The hell?
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so
This is a Grape Corner.
yeah, so we're going to quickly do Crepe Corner, which is just ask a couple
Hey,
questions.
Dave can join in.
You may be able to join in. Some of them are anime related, some of them aren't. And then we're going to wrap it up. So just for now, though, thanks for listening. That was Dave, our friend, my friend from work and our friend from life. And we'll definitely be hearing more from him and us about our D&D adventures later on. So let's check on some questions here. Okay, so this one, I don't know if have you ever watched anime before?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could forget one anime and watch it all over again, what would it be?
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Or Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
I think it would be Full Metal Alchemist for me as well.
Either or.
For me, it would be Bleach. the first couple of seasons of Bleach, because I remember being super psyched for the Bankais
Yeah.
Back when it was really good.
when it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a bittersweet relationship with Bleach.
It's so
Yeah.
bad now.
Basically, after
awful.
for me, Bleach was ruined after Ichigo's Bankai.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
It became trash.
this guy,
After Soul Society was
co-host
just
of the
awful.
year. welcome to the good club.
What about you, Spin?
Mine's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Okay.
It was such a good series with so many good characters and such good plot points that if I could just watch it again, where every episode cliffhanger, I didn't know what was happening next, I'd be so happy. But yeah, have you ever seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood?
I've seen like the first couple episodes. I haven't finished it.
It's
It's
fantastic.
a long series.
It's long.
It's long, and I really liked the original series until the end. I didn't really like the twist so much at the end of
Well,
the original series.
They made a movie to make it better, and then they screwed up the movie, and they had to make another one.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't really seen the new series yet.
Okay, well, answer
Was
most
that the
of
only
them.
question?
Okay, the one question that I found was
I know for a fact there's at least one more question there that we
What-
didn't answer.
is criteria for good CGI in anime.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's our criteria?
What is our criteria? So in anime recently, there's been a trend of replacing a lot of hand-drawn or computer kind of flash-based movements with 3D CGI. And for some reason, they never get it right. Like, it's not like a transformer interacting with, Shia LaBeouf. It's more
yeah, I've seen it a couple times.
Here comes Shia.
Shia
Shia LaBeouf.
LaBeouf.
Shia
It's
the
how it
Beef,
is in my
come
head,
on.
man,
What
since
the hell?
Shia LaBeouf. Fine, whatever.
Shia the Beef, come on.
Okay. So that's kind of what we are, and we've been shell shocked by anime that have been great, and all of a sudden introduced the worst CGI we've ever seen in our lives, and it just plummets to earth.
So I'm pretty sure you and I have the exact same the qualifications for CGI.
Yeah.
Simply put and vaguely put, it needs to blend.
Bless you.
Bless you. And what I mean by that is it needs to match the same frame rate and same movement as everything else on the screen. And artistically it needs to look very similar.
Yeah.
A lot of the mistakes they make in terms of CGI is that it looks very plasticky, very shiny.
Yeah.
It's something that doesn't look like it can exist in their world. A lot of people say the CG in Cars is good. It's not. It's just hard to screw up cars. Cars are supposed to be shiny, so you can get away with bad CG.
With
It's-
cars, exactly.
yeah, it's
They're
still-
inanimate objects.
It still looks bad,
When you
but
have-
it's forgivable.
when you have people, CGI people walking around in crowds.
That's
ugh.
the problem. Every time they do a CGI person, they're walking at like half the speed of
Yeah.
everybody else. And it's obvious. And I don't know why they do it. Speed them up. It probably looks worse, but they'll walk normally.
I think it's what happens is when you're watching like an anime, the way they animate it is it's frame by frame. So there are points where if they moved a bunch, there are points where nothing existed. But CGI always exists pertinently throughout the whole scene. It's never disappearing. It's sort of like, how do you explain it? Like a fluorescent light bulb is flashing thousands of times per minute, right? If you slowed it down, you'd see the blinking. That's frames per second. But if you speed it up enough, when you have like, did you watch The Hobbit in high frame per second?
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
No, because it's like it's going fast, but it looks like slow motion, and you're like, I don't understand what's happening.
What happened was there was no
Confuses your brain.
blur, right? There was no blur. It looked so realistic that it looked like you're watching a bunch of people in costumes acting out The Hobbit. Ruined it for me.
Yeah.
I prefer the 24 frame per second blur that happens with that kind of stuff. So yeah, you nailed it. Has to be fluid. Has to match the art style.
Yeah, the big thing is like it's always slow. Like even in the last episode of Your Lie, when it showed Kosei's hands, they were slow and clunky.
And the CGI, it was just not good. Even when Utaha was typing on,
Yeah, that too.
yeah. So anyways,
They always have to fit it in somewhere. Always.
the plan for our podcast again is we're going to go back to releasing once a week. Hopefully we'll be able to get our schedules down pat. When D&D sessions happen, we'd love to get Dave back and talk to him about the sessions. If you have any questions regarding D&D, because I know a lot of you are interested, please fire questions at our Twitter, at JMB Podcast, or Gmail at jamesandbrownpodcast@gmail.com, as well as on our Podomatic feeds and our YouTube, wherever you want. And we'll
Well, the Podomatic's not going to last much longer.
No, we're working on Podomatic. We'll figure that out. But when we'll shoot them over to Dave. So yeah, thanks Dave for coming onto the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's really cool to have our first ever guest.
Yeah.
I hope the system works with the audio, but I'll figure that out when we go along. So
Okay, let's wrap this up. I'm Raj James and Brown.
And I'm Spence of James and Brown.
And this is our guest Dave.
Of I don't know, guest. Guest name.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the podcast, guys.
Bye.